red-hot Houston Astros have rolled into the Valley of the Sun as they go interleague with the Arizona Diamondbacks in the first of two right here at Chase Field in Phoenix, Arizona. We bring it to you on CSN Houston. Hi, everybody. Alan Ashby and Jeff Blum. We are just enjoying some sun here, kind of kicking back, and I'm sure the Astros are feeling the same way. They've been playing some good baseball, winning 2 out of 3 in Minnesota, 11 out of 15 overall.
Yeah, they're doing a great job. This is a great place to go with the way they've been swinging the bats. We saw some quality at-bats yesterday from the Houston Astros lineup. Dexter Fowler, one of the guys that got things going, getting on base quite a bit of late. But yesterday it was a big home run to get those Astros going. And then it was the Springleton tandem that we saw in that 3-4 hole, driving balls out of the ballpark, 5 RBIs with those home runs. And then Chris Carter jumping in on the action with his first career grand slam. So this is a good place for the bats to be coming when they're driving the ball out of the ballpark.
It's kind of obvious, but it's interleague time. The Astros have only played 2 interleague games to this point on the season, so not a lot of experience and none on the road. The pitchers will be swinging the sticks tonight.
Yeah, kind of a unique situation for everybody involved. Bo Porter getting a chance to manage a little bit more with the double switches, pinch hitting. How is he going to work with that bullpen? And then the fun part, you get to see some of these American League pitchers step into the box and take their hacks.
Coming up, Jared Cosart has struck gold with better control in recent starts, but he'll have a tough time staring down Houston native Paul Goldschmidt and the rest of the D-backs. Julia Morales breaks down the Texas showdown when we return. Comcast Sportsnet's presentation of Houston Astros baseball is brought to you by Jack in the Box. Head to Jack in the Box and try Jack's new Blazin' Chicken Sandwich. It's Jack's hottest sandwich yet.
It's time for some baseball in the desert. Quite the change of scenery for some guys who were in Minnesota yesterday, landing in Phoenix last night. The temps around 107 here today, and the locals are telling me that is nothing. But fans making their way into the ballpark, and they're welcomed by some misters. Kind of nice here in the shade. It's going to be a good matchup tonight between the Astros and the Diamondbacks. Jared Cosart on the mound, coming off of a loss, but he pitched well against the Angels. Went 6 2/3, got a career high, tied a career-high 8 strikeouts, and only walked 1 batter. He's improving on that aspect of his game. Skipper Bo Porter saying that he really likes the way he's attacking the zone recently. Well, he will be stepping inside the batter's box for the very first time in his major league career. And instead of worrying about getting himself out, he's going to be worrying about getting the Diamondbacks out. It's the first time he's faced this club. And the name or the player to watch in that lineup will be Paul Goldschmidt, the first baseman. These are a couple of Houston natives. Goldschmidt from the Woodlands, and wasn't the big name out of high school. Cosart saying, I don't really remember him out of high school, but man, he turned it on later in his minor league career and became a major league all-star 1 season ago. He's hitting 300 with 12 homers so far this year. Cosart hoping to keep the pitches down in the zone, keep him grounded tonight. It is time to go inside where the AC is flowing, but the bats are still hot. Some power hitters facing off. Coming up, John Singleton trying to outslug Goldschmidt and the Diamondbacks. First pitch next.
Coming from the bats of the Houston Astros. The young guns have started to arrive, and Houston's power supply is reaching critical mass. Next up, a duel in the desert. Time to get cracking. And it is hot here in the desert. The Astros hope to stay hot as a ball club. They come in winners of 2 of 3 on this road trip, a 5-game road trip, and they've won 11 of 15 overall. You see George Springer with the skip, Bo Porter. George Springer, unfortunately, had to be scratched from tonight's lineup, a little bit of a sore knee, and we'll talk a little bit more about that coming up. But now for the lineup of the Houston Astros, presented by Jack in the Box. At the top of the order tonight, Dexter Fowler in center. He'll be followed by Jose Altuve and John Singleton, who moves into the Springer spot. He'll bat third at first base. Middle 3, the catcher Jason Castro, Matt Dominguez at third, and in left field, Robbie Grossman. And the bottom 3, Alex Presley in right. Jonathan Villar gets the start at shortstop. And of course, pitchers hit here in the National League, so Jared Cosart is in the 9th spot.
On the mound for the Arizona Diamondbacks is going to be Josh Colementor, the 28-year-old out of Central Michigan University. Big over-the-top delivery. Not a lot of heat on that fastball, around 86, 87 miles an hour. Does a good job of working on different levels through that strike zone. 4-2 on the season. He's given up 9 home runs. That fastball we talked about at 87 is pretty much a 4-seamer, straight over the top, nice and flat, and if it finds the zone, it gets hit.
Couple of starts back for Josh Colementor. He faced just 27 hitters in a complete game effort. He allowed 3 hits in that game. did not walk a man, but he got 3 double plays behind him, and he wound up facing just the 27, the minimum. 13th pitcher ever to have given up at least 3 hits and then face the minimum. His first pitch on the night is taken for a strike by Fowler. Dexter hitting .277. He's been hot with the bat.
He's been hot with the bat and without the bat, finding his way on almost half as many times as he does when he swings the bat.
He can do some serious peeking and draw some walks. Hits one sharply through the hole on the right side. Leadoff single Dexter Fowler as the Astros get it going right away.
Really been doing a good job at the top of that lineup, but he's happy to be back in the National League West. Saying hi to an old friend right there in Paul Goldschmidt.
Number 27, HOU AT ARI.
Well, Dexter Fowler gets the high heat and deposits it in right field. Solid base hit. So Cole Mentor right away will have to work from the stretch to Jose Altuve. That's a 7-game hitting streak now for Dexter Fowler. Altuve has a 7-gamer of his own. Last time out for Cole Mentor, he took a no decision, 5 innings, allowing 9 hits and 4 runs. That at the hands of the Colorado Rockies at Coors Field. And when you play at Coors, numbers tend to rise a bit. 81 pitches in that one for Cole Mentor. Pitch is fouled on the right side. So a lot of folks here in Arizona no doubt disappointed that George Springer unable to go tonight. And we don't know the extent of the injury. It sounds like it's minor, but a bit of a sore right knee for George.
Yeah, rumor has it just precautionary. Give him a day off. Don't want to have that thing flare up and get any worse.
Line shot into left field. The Astros are at it right away. Base hits by Fowler and Altuve. 8-gamer for Jose Altuve as he continues to lead in base hits. Yeah, this guy is fun to watch.
It's always fun to watch guys get hits. And he's been getting the most of them so far this season in the American League.
That's number 86 for Altuve. So 2 runners aboard, first and second. Nobody out for John Singleton, who hit his first major league grand slam in yesterday's victory at Minnesota. 14-5, the Astros won it. They pounded out 4 home runs on the afternoon, and 2 of those home runs were grand slams. Number 1 on the career for Chris Carter, and number 1 for John Singleton, second overall for John. And a 2-0 count.
Good take. That was that 1-0 changeup. Cole Mentor throws his fastball 86, 87, but that changeup floats in there in the high 70s. Creates a tough angle because he throws so far over the top.
Yeah. So a good hitter's count for Singleton. And he tops one on the ground. It'll roll foul. 2-1 the count. Are you seeing Singleton make any of those adjustments you've been looking to see, maybe keeping the bat in the zone longer?
No, and I don't think it's a problem for me because I remember getting called up and I was hyper excited for the first couple of weeks I was in the big leagues. But it's just a matter of adjusting. He wants to do big things, and I'm sure noticing that Springer's not in the lineup. He's taken over the 3-hole, and now he's got 2 runners on, and he has a chance to drive the ball out of the ballpark. I'm sure he's a little amped up, and you're facing a guy that only throws 87, 88 miles an hour. But I would like to see him go up the middle the other way.
He hits one on the right side. Couple of hops to first. They'll get it out at second base. And that delayed call making sure that contact was made with the bag. 3-6 on the force play. Singleton reaches, and into third base with 1 out is Dexter Fowler.
And that's that swing I'm talking about, trying to go out and get it. You can see the hands. The barrel's already extended and getting through the zone. That's why he rolls that ball over. Lets that ball travel just a hair more. Might drive that in the opposite field gap.
So 1 out, runners at the corners, just the first inning. That base hit by Altuve, we mentioned number 86. He starts the day with a 4-hit lead over second place Melky Cabrera. Alex Rios also at 81 hits. Rios now leading the league in hitting at 332. Jason Castro stands in and takes a strike. So with George Springer last minute coming out of the lineup, he was in the 3 spot. That moved Singleton up a spot as well as Castro. Back-to-back left-handed bats for the Astros, 3 and 4.
Got to give Singleton a little bit of credit for hustling down that first baseline, creating a first and third situation. I know the ball probably wasn't hit hard enough for a double play, but still got to hustle through that bag and make sure that runner gets to third base with less than 2 outs.
Double play depth, Gregorius and Hill, shortstop and second base. Well spotted fastball just away. Or is that the change? Just 85 on that pitch.
That's his fastball.
That's it.
Yeah, the changeup's going to be in the upper 70s.
So this is the stuff that went 9 innings facing 27 hitters.
Yeah.
That was against the Cincinnati Reds.
Astros need Castro to get going. Hovering around that 230, 240 mark. I'd like to see him start lighting it up like he did last year around the same time.
Momentor comes set. And tosses to first. First baseman Paul Goldschmidt playing in front of the runner at first base. We have seen John Singleton run, so it wouldn't be a surprise if he did take off at some point. The Astros continue to run very well as a club. 48 stolen bases, second best in the league. Castro out in front on the change. The Astros are now, with the 4 home runs yesterday, third in the league with 69 bombs on the year. Only Toronto and Oakland have hit more home runs. And the offensive players add up to an average age of 25.8 years. By far the youngest in the league. The little tapper foul at the plate.
It's amazing. I think the last time I went through with the Astros, the average age was closer to 37, 38.
That's a veteran club.
Oh, it was me, Darren Erstad, Mark Loretta, Brad Ausmus, Jose Cruz Jr. We were salty vets hanging around that ball club. Brian Moeller on that team. I think Lance was even on that team. He was really bringing that age up. Just an appearance.
So Elvis was there.
We'll expect a phone call from him later.
Yeah, Lance came on along with Roy Oswalt early in the season with us, and Lance was stellar. There goes Singleton as the fastball drills Castro. So the Astros will have him loaded up. Couple of hits and a hit batter. 1 out for Matt Dominguez.
Around Chase Field for the Diamondbacks, backing up Josh Polmetter, who's on the hill. Around the outfield, it's going to be Peralta, Inciarte, Parra in right field, Gold Glove winner. Around the infield, Prado, Gregorius, Aaron Hill at second, Gold Glover, Paul Goldschmidt at first. Behind the plate, Miguel Montero.
So again, 1 out. Diamondbacks will play back for the double play. Matt Dominguez takes inside. Astros trying to get something going here in the first inning. First of 2 here with the Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks will follow the club right back into Houston and play 2 there. So in essence a 4-game series, but 2 in each home location. Dominguez hits it in the air down the right field side. Plenty deep enough to get a run. Parra will make the catch, fire into second base. Scoring easily is Fowler, and into third base is John Singleton. So it's 1-0 Houston on the sac fly by Matt Dominguez, RBI number 26.
Good piece of hit by Matty D. Put that first run across the board for the Houston Astros. A fly ball deep to right. You got to be a little worrisome about that guy out there in right field for the Diamondbacks. Has an absolute cannon. Watch out.
That's bad positioning by your home plate umpire.
You're kind of asking for it right there if you're Marty Foster. That's the landing strip as he's coming down.
747 needs a little extra runway. First and third again. 2 outs, a run in. Robbie Grossman at the plate. So not a bad way to get things started.
Well, the Astros have been doing a better job. A couple of the wins that we've seen on this road trip, they've jumped out early on the opposing team and given those pitchers a little bit of a cushion.
The Astros are now 12th in the league in total runs. They are right at the top in terms of games played. The 1-0 is taken for a strike. That high fastball to Robbie. In terms of runs per game, the Astros are 13th in the league. Behind them, the Kansas City Royals and Tampa Bay Rays. But the Astros pressing toward 4 runs a game. And that's a huge jump for a ball club who back in April was scoring less than 3 runs a game.
Hitting under 200.
Yep.
Some awful numbers for an offense to start out a season.
There was a point there, and I couldn't give you the date in April, where the club was hitting 186. 1-1 the count. Another high strike for Robbie. It's 1-2.
A little bit of cut on that one too from Josh Colminter.
The Oakland A's lead the league in runs per game at almost 5.2. They're the only club scoring at least 5 runs a game. They're followed by the Toronto Blue Jays and the Angels, Tigers, White Sox, some of the established run scoring clubs now in the league this year. The 1-2. Little fister hit on the ground right side. Backhanded and dropped by Hill, and everybody's safe. Scoring run number 2 is John Singleton, and the Astros take a 2-0 lead on an E4.
It's a tough error.
Right fielder, number 8, Alex Presley.
Granted, you do expect Aaron Hill to make that play on his backhand side, but Robbie Grossman runs relatively well down first base. Aaron Hill would have had to pick this clean and make a great throw.
I thought what Aaron Hill might be able to do moving to his right was backhand and immediately flip to the bag at second for the force out, but you're right, not an easy play. The Astros don't care one way or the other. They pick up a second run. But Jared Cosart having to wait it out a little bit, but I'm sure it's worth it. 2-0 Houston. And now Alex Presley comes to the plate.
He might be down there putting his batting gloves on.
We get to see the swing of some pitchers here in this 2-game set. Alex Presley hitting .240, has 3 homers on the year. It's been a while since we've seen Alex launch one, and now a bluff towards second from Montero, the catcher.
Defensively, Miguel Montero reminded me a little bit of Humberto Quintero, who liked to throw to all bases, backdoor guys. Good throwing out percentages for him.
Two and 0 the count. And that fastball at 86 almost looks like a changeup coming to the plate.
It's almost that he gets so far on top that he almost turns it over and turns it into a faster changeup. Of course, his fastball is a standard changeup for most pitchers around the big leagues.
.30 and it's taken for a strike. Fowler and Altuve with base hits to start the inning. John Singleton grounded into a fielder's choice, putting runners at first and third, but then Castro, with Singleton on the move, was drilled by a pitch that loaded him up for Matt Dominguez, who had a sac fly to right field, plating the first run, and then Robbie Grossman hits the ground ball that is charged an E4, and now a walk will load him up. and bring up Jonathan VR, and VR got back in action yesterday and started swinging a hot bat all of a sudden.
He needed it.
He needed it very much so. 3 for 5 yesterday, and now the pitching coach is going to come out. That's Mike Harkey. So they'll have a chat at the mound, and time for a team photo. Just a very brief message.
They have an interesting spot. The National League, you got an 8-hole hitter up there, some runners in scoring position. There might be a base open. You can pitch around him and get to that pitcher.
Number 2, Jonathan.
But here, with the bases loaded, you have to come after VR.
With those 3 hits yesterday in Minnesota, Jonathan VR jumped the batting average from 193 to 205. So he got off the interstate and now trying to start raising the numbers a bit. He taps one foul.
See Colementer's last start, 5 innings, 4 earned runs. Took the no decision to that one, but those main numbers are pretty good. 3-0, sub 3. 17 strikeouts, only 5 walks in that month of May. Usually a strike thrower, not afraid of contact, even though he's not going to blow you away at all.
Catches the outside edge. 0-2 the count. Now with these velocity numbers we're looking at, there's not going to be anybody blown away, you wouldn't think. And yet sometimes these guys can really mess with your timing. The 0-2.
But I think part of the deception for Colementer is his arm angle when he releases it, throwing every pitch out of the same spot directly over his head.
Yeah, it's quite an unusual delivery. The 1-2 change got him. Drops it down to 80 miles an hour. Big strikeout for Josh Colementer. The Astros in the first inning pick up a pair and lead it 2-0. Coming to the plate, and their batting order looks like this tonight. Didi Gregorius will lead it off. He's the shortstop. In right field, Gerardo Parra, the guy with the gun. Paul Goldschmidt from Woodlands High at first base. Doing the catching, Miguel Montero. Martin Prado at third. Second baseman's Aaron Hill. The bottom 3, David Peralta in left. The center fielder, Ender Inciarte. And doing the pitching, Josh Colementer.
Jared Cosart for the Houston Astros. Having himself a decent year, working his way to get that ERA under 4, 4-5 on the season. See that batting average against lefties is pretty low. 61 hits in 67 innings. Those walk totals are relatively high, though.
So Jared Cosart spotted the 2 runs in the first inning before he has to swing the bat. That's a good thing. Last time out, took a loss against the Angels, worked 6 2/3 innings and allowed just 3 runs. Pitched well in that one. It was my impression that with the 3 fastballs that he throws, he went to the 4-seamer. A lot more straight fastballs, mixed in a good curveball, some sliders, and the changeup was a small part of what he did.
Yeah, and some of those limited highlights that I got to see, the changeup looked actually pretty good.
Yep. And I know Brent Strom wants to see that. He wants to see the use of the high fastball. Change then mixes in really well. Cosart was unscored upon in that game against the Angels until the 5th inning. Halos picked up 1 in the 5th, 2 in the 6th. So that first pitch on the evening misses. Gregorius, the young shortstop. There's that cut fastball on the inside edge. Gregorius with a 3-game hitting streak. Cosart works it with Jason Castro. And a 2-1 count, 95. So we've got a tale of 2 different types of fastballs here this evening.
Cosart's one of those league leaders in velocity.
Little tapper on the right side. Cosart makes the play. Underhands on to Singleton. And out number 1.
Pretty good play by Jared Cosart. Get a chance to look at the Astros defensive alignment around the outfield. Robbie Grossman's going to be in left field. Dexter Fowler in center. Alex Presley in right field. Matt Dominguez at third. VR and Altuve up the middle. John Singleton at first base. Jason Castro will be calling the pitches for Jared Cosart.
With 1 out, it brings up Gerardo Parra, hitting .272 on the year. Parra with 5 home runs on the year. He's driven in 24. I think one of the keys you always watch with just about any pitcher, but for Jared Cosart, I think in particular, can he get ahead and stay ahead on hitters? Seems to be the only thing lacking right now for Jared as he falls behind 2-0. A little bit more evidence of that cut fastball here this evening.
Yeah, I don't care who you are. If you get into hitters counts, that takes a lot of the guessing out of the game for hitters. Sit back and try and hit that fastball.
This pops the heat right through at 93.
Cosart's one of the highest walk per 9 innings guys since 2013 at 4.68.
Swinging over the 95-mile-an-hour heat is Parra. Parra from Venezuela. Blummer was talking about his great arm in right field. Certainly viewed as one of the very best, if not the best, with the throwing arm.
Senor Cañon.
That's what they call him.
Oh, yeah.
2-2. Curveball got him. Not a good swing from Parra. That shows how good that curveball is.
Well, when you're sitting around 95 with a little bit of cut, and as a hitter, you see that ball jump out of his hand, you're wondering what it's going to do next, and by the time you decide, it's down in the dirt and by you.
Jared Cosart rubbing up the baseball. Retires the first 2 hitters and now faces Paul Goldschmidt. And we mentioned that Goldschmidt, as I think most folks in the Houston area know, from the Woodlands area. Went to Woodlands High. One of the great hitters in the game today, and great power hitter. 12 dingers on the year. He's driven in 46. Jeff Blum had a chance to play with Paul Goldschmidt and taught Goldie everything he knows now.
I'm taking a lot of credit for this kid's success.
You should.
Yeah, because it has nothing to do with the tools and the ability and the attitude.
No, well, and he's blossomed since you were with him. So I think that speaks volumes.
No, just an all-around great guy Paul Goldschmidt is. Not one of those real vocal leaders in the clubhouse. Goes out, plays the game hard, plays it right. Obviously puts up big numbers to lead this club.
There's that cut fastball hit on the ground. Singleton makes the play on to Cosart. A 1-2-3 first inning as Cosart shuts him down. 2-0 Houston after one frame. Game of two here in Arizona. The All-Star game will be played this year on Tuesday, July 15th, and your votes count. Voting continues on MLB.com through July 3rd. Here's a look at the American League vote leaders at each position. This as of tonight's game. And you can see that lineup of guys. Not too bad of a list of players.
Yeah, I'm curious Matt Wieters is even going to be available for that catching spot. But yeah, some of the standard names you like to see, and I'm sure Derek Jeter, with or without the vote, should be that starting shortstop for the American League, having this be his last year. Nice little send-off.
Jose Bautista leading in the votes. Mike Trout in center field. That's a pretty good club.
Well, it's a pretty solid outfield. How about two of the Blue Jays being in the outfield in votes?
Melky Cabrera among the hit leaders in the league. Yeah, and the Toronto Blue Jays have been good, and they're finding themselves at the top of the East Division. That means a lot of fans are coming out, and that certainly helps with the vote. Blue Jays lead over Baltimore, New York, Boston, and just dreadful Tampa Bay so far this year. Pitch foul down the right side. 1-2 as Cosart gets in front.
Getting blown away by 84. Come on, Jared. See him giggling about it.
Jared Cosart getting the hacks. That smile on the face, that speaks volumes. And he hits it sharply to first base. That'll be handled by Goldschmidt. He'll take it to the bag, and out number one.
National League All-Stars popping up for you. Gonzo at first base. Carlos Gomez bursting onto the scene for the Milwaukee Brewers. First place Milwaukee Brewers out there in left field. That's a decent outfield too. Tulowitzki having himself a nice year. Chase Utley re-emerging out there. Pretty solid crew right there.
Chase Utley really has had a nice turnaround. There's a strike at the knees.
Next week's balloting updates will be announced on ESPN this Sunday night and next Tuesday night when the Astros play the Nats on CSN.
High chopper. This is going to be near impossible to get Fowler, and they won't. Infield single for Dexter Fowler. He's 2 for 2 on the night. A one-out single brings up Jose Altuve, who rocked one into left field in the first inning.
Hits is hits. Colossal chopper. Really all Aaron Hill could do, and he did a great job of it, trying to make this play closer than I thought it should have been. Dexter strides it out. It's got to take about 7 steps to get down the line, it seems like.
Pretty long strides. Aaron Hill came over from the Toronto Blue Jays to the Diamondbacks. He's been very good at second base. Jose Altuve, an 8-game hitting streak now, and we mentioned Dexter Fowler with the 2 hits tonight, has a 7-gamer. Fowler shot one through the right side in the first inning. Altuve then lined one into left field for a base hit. The Astros picked up 2 in the inning. RBI sac fly by Matt Dominguez. And then let's see that second run. That come home on the walk to Presley. My score sheet,
Not sure,
is scuffling. We'll get that one for you. Altuve takes high and away. And that first inning hit by Altuve, number 86. Nice snap throw, as you mentioned, Blummer. Montero likes to throw.
Yeah, you've got to be on your toes with him. It doesn't matter when or where you're at. He's going to be looking to get a piece of you. You see Fowler extending that secondary. Alertly gets back.
Pitch is hit hard to center field, going back Inciarte, and he won't get there. It's over his head. Fowler comes to third. He's being sent home. Here comes Fowler. No throw to the plate. RBI double for Altuve, and a 3-0 Houston lead.
Little man showing some pop to center field.
That's good stuff.
He can get behind the ball. It's deceptive, and I'm sure some of the scouting reports may say you could play him a little bit further in. But when he decides to put a charge into the ball, he can. A scissor kick right there as he drives this one to center field.
Really did. That left foot went toward the pitcher and toward the plate. And Dexter didn't have a great jump from first base. Probably just unsure as to what this ball would do.
Yeah, you got to drift a little with one out. Being at first base, make sure that ball gets down before you take off.
So the top of the order is added again. Fowler and Altuve. 4 for 4 between the two of them. Ground ball is foul as John Singleton has the big rip. Singleton grounded into a fielder's choice in the first inning. Then came around to score the second run. That run scored as Robbie Grossman grounded into a fielder's choice. That was the error charged to Aaron Hill, so the error actually enabled the runner to move into second. And a 1-1 count. Well, the Astros trying to keep the wheels rolling as they come into Arizona. Fister back to the screen. It's a ball and 2 strikes. Yesterday, John Singleton had his first major league slam.
And it was a laser. Perkins on the mound for the Twins. Their closer throwing 93, 94 miles an hour. And Singleton turned that thing around in a hurry. And then earlier in the game, it was Chris Carter going Oppo Taco for his 4 RBIs.
Worth mentioning on the Singleton grand slam came against the left-hander, as you mentioned. Perkins on the hill. And that's one of the things. Can Singleton play every day against righties and lefties? So far, it looks like that's the case.
2 grand slams in one game. Happened yesterday, and the last time that happened was July 30th, 1969. The toy cannon. Jimmy Wynn getting his, and Dennis Menke.
Dennis Menke, a former hitting coach with the Astros. I think the guys in the dugout are having some fun.
Rightfully so.
Changeup drops down to 79. 3-2 the count. First base is open. 1 out. Jason Castro waits on deck. Somebody's singing for us.
Yeah, they are.
3-2 pitch. Change is grounded foul.
Good grief, Larry. Get a stick and kill it.
It sounds like
he was trying to catch that foul ball like it was a rattlesnake.
Well, Larry isn't on your best hands team, is he?
No, he's got a big enough glove. Should be able to corral it then. Sorry.
I bet that doubles as a nice softball glove. 3-2 pitch. Hit on the ground to first again. Goldschmidt makes the play. And a nice play it was. Moving into third base is Altuve. 2 down now for Jason Castro.
Ball smoked. Good hands by Goldie at first. This is a good angle up. See the way the ball bends off the left-hander's bat towards first base. Ball hit that hard. You don't have much time, but good quick feet.
Hear the sounds of the dugout as the ground ball went toward first base, and that sound that the players use that says this ball is going to kick him.
Oh yeah, give that.
That is one of the sounds of the dugout. Jason Castro hit by a pitch in the first inning.
Shift. You don't see that too often from the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Now when Castro hits it to left field, it is almost always in the air, but we'll see if Jason, with a man at third base, tries to take advantage. Big gap in left center field. He hammers one to the gap in right center. No need to go the other way. This will plate run number 4. Castro has an RBI double, and the Astros just keep swinging it.
Well, I was just going to comment to the fact that maybe the Diamondbacks move that shift around because Colementer's not going to jam or blow up too many hitters, especially Castro. But one way to beat that shift is just to hit a laser through it. Great swing, head down, through it. Beautiful.
Yeah, that's doing it right.
Guys.
Castro trying to get that batting average and everything else to come along with it. And that's not a bad way to get it started. So Castro 1 for 1 on the night. And now it brings up Matt Dominguez. 2 more runs in. This ball's a rocket, but right there is Parra as he drifts back. That'll do it for Houston in the second inning. They add 2 more on 3 hits and leave a man. At the end of an inning and a half, 4-0 Houston.
Cosart back on the mound. The Astros with a 4-0 lead. Cosart coming off a nice start, but received the loss against the Angels. But he had 8 strikeouts in that game, matching a career high. Feeling good about his changeup. And Comcast Business is taking us inside the game. We look more at that changeup and how much he's using it. Brent Strawn, the pitching coach, has been asking him to use it a lot more lately, and it just took until this last start to where he really felt confident enough to start using it, even getting a couple strikeouts with it against the Angels in that last game. You can see there in 2014, before that last start, only using it 2%, but he threw 15 in that last start. Really effective, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Julia. And that's dead on the money. And I think we all agree that Jared Cosart, with a changeup that he can throw in any count, becomes so much tougher.
Well, I think if there's any kid out there these days that's working on pitches, yeah, it's good to have a curveball and a slider, but I think that changeup is so effective because of the way it comes out of the hand, looking like a fastball, and minus now 7-8 miles an hour. As a hitter, you see the speed first, and then you have a tough time reacting to that changeup later.
You see that arm speed. You react.
Yeah.
At least that's me. React to arm speed, and the ball just doesn't match up. Well spotted, and 0-2 the count as Cosart gets going here in the second inning, already leading 4-0. Jesus Montero, very fine catcher for the Diamondbacks, standing in. And by the way, these Diamondbacks have been playing good baseball. They got off to a miserable start on their season, just like Houston, but they've turned it around. The Astros would be a half game in front of the Diamondbacks if in the same league.
I think some of the issues they were having early on are pretty similar to what's happening tonight. Early leads by the opposing team, put that offense, which is a good offense for the Arizona Diamondbacks, puts them in a hole and has to have them battle back, get into those bullpens earlier. They get burned out a little bit. But in the run they've been having, they're starting pitching much like the Astros, is going a little bit deeper into games, letting that bullpen rest, getting a little bit better rhythm.
1-2 the count. And now 2-2, and Gene Diaz, director of information for the Astros, has sent out that the Astros AA affiliate Corpus Christi, the Hooks, will take on the San Antonio Missions. That's Tuesday coming up, June 10th at Minute Maid Park. Tomorrow, first ever Astros Futures game presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Strike three called outside edge. Montero, a good hitter, caught looking. And out number one here in the second strikeout for Jared Cosart.
Backdoor cutter, maybe a little bit off that plate, but when the umpire sees that ball coming back towards the plate, errs on the side of calling it a strike. This is the first time that Jared Cosart is facing the Arizona Diamondbacks.
I'm not sure you can make a better pitch than that. You don't put it on white, you just dart it around the corner. That was ideal. One out for Martin Prado. Prado hitting .285. Diamondbacks are getting some of the offensive numbers going now. Problem for the Diamondbacks and other clubs in that division, the San Francisco Giants, best record in baseball, 42-21. Two-hopper to second. Altuve down on a knee. He'll make the play. Second out here in the second inning. 5 straight retired by Jared Cosart.
Cosart's got some pretty good numbers when he faces a team for the first time. This will be the 15th time he faces a team for the first time. Cosart's posted a 2.01 ERA and has allowed 2 or fewer runs in 12 of those 14 starts. So he's a tough guy to adjust to quickly.
By the way, that Corpus Christi Hooks game starts at 6:10 tomorrow night at Minute Maid. A great chance to go out and see some of the youngsters. Aaron Hill at the plate, hitting .253, 5 bombs and 28 ribbies. A little cutter, quite effective here this evening. The Astros already 4 runs on 5 hits. Arizona looking for their first base runner against Cosart. Cutter fouled back to the screen. I imagine these hitters who are not familiar with Cosart are thinking, what is this? And you can hear it in a meeting. This guy's got a nice little cutter, but then you get to the plate and you see it, and it's well, it's kind of new information for you.
Well, you can watch video on it, you can talk about it all you want, but until you see it, you don't know what's going on.
That curveball gets him. 3rd strikeout for Cosart. 2 here in the second inning. A 1-2-3 frame. 4-0 Houston.
top 4-0. And it's now time for you to tweet your photos using hashtag CSNHFanPhoto. This is for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming game broadcast. That's brought to you by AT&T. Guys, that pool looks awesome.
I tell you what, it looked awesome earlier when we were outside.
Woo-wee.
Could have used that.
A little warm.
I got an idea for our next open.
Oh, yeah?
Cannonball practice.
You're on your own, pal.
Cannonballs.
Well, the Astros are staying hot. They lead 4-0 after 2. Matt Dominguez lined to right field to end the second inning. So Robbie Grossman leads it off here in the third. Oh, and 2 the count on Robbie. Had runners at first and third when he batted in the first inning eventually. Hitting a ground ball to second. Tough play for Aaron Hill wide to his right. Hill knocked it down and was charged with an error. That plated the second run of the game. By the way, Dina Propus wants us to know that Grammy Award winning artist Drake is to host Houston Appreciation Night. That's at Minute Maid Park, June 12th, coming up on this homestand. Strike 3 called, outside edge, top of the strike zone. Robbie doesn't like it. Second strikeout for Josh Colmentor.
I agree with Robbie. I'd be a little perturbed if that ball was called a strike on me. But there's a couple people right there that could care less where that last pitch was.
What do they do when home runs start flying in there and the kids are swimming away and not paying attention to the game?
I'm not sure how long ago it was, but I think it was sometime this year. A ball ricocheted and smoked somebody right in the forehead.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good, especially when you've got kids out there.
Well, you got to be on high alert, but they've got people out there that are roaming, watching the game, giving a heads up if a ball does come flying out there.
They have trained home run catchers out there.
They do.
Well, they look like it. International home run catchers. Alex Presley at the plate, drew a walk his first time up, grounds one to Hill. Aaron gets him, 2 outs here in the third. I'll bring up Jonathan Villar. He struck out to end the 2-run first inning. Had the bases loaded as he struck out, and again 3 hits yesterday for Jonathan. Villar, as he stands in, hitting .203. Taps one foul at the plate. To me, it's really stark watching Villar right now compared to last year and maybe early on this year. When batting left-handed, not seeing that line drive to left field. He's kind of pulling off, trying to smoke balls to right field is what it looks like.
No, he's trying to go get the ball. When you start leaking out there, your front shoulder goes flying and you don't stay on the pitch at all.
And then sometimes when you move a lot, you don't react when you get a good pitch to hit. It's 0-2. But I would say the mark for me of Villar last year when he was swinging it well at times was left-handed hitting to left field and hard. Right-handed hitting to left field. He was kind of a left field hitter no matter what. Waits a little longer as he fouls it back.
And I'm okay with that. That's a good adjustment.
Yeah,
letting that ball travel, get a little bit deeper. Even if you get blown up, you still might fist one out there to left field. But yeah, pulling off the ball and spinning off it makes it incredibly tough to hit at this level.
And caught looking is Villar. A couple of strikeouts in the inning, both looking, recorded by Cole Mentor. A 1-2-3 third, but the Astros lead it.
Diamondbacks. MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, is celebrating 12 years. Watch every out-of-market game live in true HD on over 400 of Ash's devices. Join the millions of subscribers by visiting Astros.com for details. You get an extra suitcase for all those devices to get that MLB.TV, don't you?
You know, you're starting to jump my case a little bit.
I'm just impressed with your technical savvy.
You're good too. I've seen your savvy as well, and it's among the best around.
Well, hey, it's part of that. You know, it's that ace up my sleeve, so to speak, is all these web pages and things I got to look at to sound smart.
Go ahead and follow up on that.
That's all I got. I got to Google something to get something else out of that.
Bottom three in the order here in the third inning for the Diamondbacks. They've gone up and down 1, 2, 3 in each of the first two frames. 3 strikeouts for Cosart. Evens the count at 1-1. It's the 7-hitter, David Peralta. And he has come on with a bang now. A youngster with the D-backs. He's hit in 7 straight. There's that curveball. Uncle Charlie is not to be touched right now. Ooh, struck out Aaron Hill on that pitch, and it just looked filthy. Peralta has 1 home run. Taps 1 foul at the plate. Not too bad when you can look at the board, though, and see a .429 batting average. Just 28 at bats for Peralta. 12 hits already. 3 of those doubles. 1 a dinger. Quite effective. And that fastball thrown by. 4th strikeout for Jared Cosart. He is mowing him down here early on.
Fourth strikeout. Good little cutter. Head flying out a little bit for Peralta. But you're seeing some uncomfortable swings for the Diamondbacks facing Cosart for the first time. And that's going to happen. We saw it last year a couple times, especially against the Tampa Bay Rays.
Center fielder Ender Inciarte will stand in, hitting .197. Word on Inciarte is very good center fielder. Goes and gets it well. Has not figured out how to swing the bat in a big way yet on the big league level. Has 1 double and 14 hits. High chopper on the right side. Altuve comes on, makes the play underhanded, and 8 in a row retired now for Jared Cosart.
Pitcher number 55.
With 2 down, it brings up the pitcher, Josh Colmenter. We have seen Jared Cosart get his hacks, and not too bad. Hit 1 on the ground as he grounded out to first base in the 2nd inning. Colmenter 1 for 22 on the year. It's quite a different game in the National League when you have the pitchers hitting. You get that bunting game. You get the insertion of the bench players earlier in the game. 0-2 the count. Oh, this is the version of Jared Cosart you love to see. Just killing the strike zone. Working quickly.
Julia alluded to it earlier. As long as he is in that strike zone, not fearing contact, working the edges, and that great cutter that he has, he's going to have some high success.
Sometimes that cutter will become elusive for Jared. Just unable to find the strike zone with it. Get the pitcher at the plate and you get ahead 0-2, and then suddenly you can't find the zone. No, that cutter gets him. A couple of more strikeouts in the 3rd inning. Another 1, 2, 3 frame, and 5 strikeouts now for Jared Cosart. 4-0 Houston. in the Phoenix area. Beautiful area, and it's been hot again today. I guess you expect that every day. The folks will be toting their drinks around, I'm sure. The Astros having a good time with the bats. They are hot. They have picked up 4 runs in the first couple of frames, through 3, leading it 4-0 over the D-backs, and plenty of Astros fans on hand here this evening. We've had a chance to run into a few of them, and great to see them. We've had them show up everywhere we've been this year.
Quite a few in Minnesota.
The Astros taking 2 out of 3 against the Twins in Minnesota, and now trying to continue the nice road trip. Jared Cosart, his second plate appearance, hit it fairly well as he grounded out his first at bat. He hits it on the right side again. Aaron Hill with the play, and out number 1. With 1 out, good time to check in with Julia.
Hey, Ash, just a reminder to everyone out there to log on to csnhouston.com to check out In-Game Live, where you can follow the action on the diamond like never before with your enhanced Bloomberg stats. Also, vote for Player of the Game, and the winner will be revealed during Astros post-game live. Back to you.
Thanks, Julia. Always up to date with the electronic stuff. I want Julia to fire up some of the fixins here in the ballpark. I want to see what's going on.
Now, we were down there earlier getting a pretty good scouting report. Plenty of options here in Arizona.
Dexter Fowler 2 for 2 on the night. A couple of singles, 1 infield variety. He scored a pair of runs, and with the 2 hits now, Dexter Fowler hitting .284. He is kind of in one of those stretches where he appears to be unwilling to be denied. Out in front, the count is 1-2 on Dexter. Fowler has hit in 6 straight coming in, now 7 in a row. He now has 3 consecutive 2-hit games. Just away. 6 of his last 7 games, he's had multiple hits. He's drawing walks in that span. 6 of them. And now a 3-2 count on Dex. Dexter Fowler with an on-base percentage at .398.
Good grief.
He's getting it done. Changeup gets him though on the 3-2. Second out in the inning.
Inside the Lines is brought to you by Scotch Blue Painter's Tape. Scotch Blue, see what you can do. Get a chance to see what Altuve can do, stating his case for the All-Star game this year up in Minnesota. Doing a fantastic job getting back to that 2012 form when he was the Astros representative, leading the league in hits, leading the league in stolen bases. 1 error on the season, I believe, out at second base. So just a well-rounded ball player, and of course he steps up and hits a laser to center.
So Jose Altuve 3 for 3 on his night. 88 hits for Jose, leading the league, and he is not looking back at all. When you look at second baseman for the All-Star spot, Robinson Cano is having a great year in Seattle. He's been the leading hitter. He's, I believe, right now second best in the league. Jose Altuve is right behind him, and Altuve's batting average, well, I believe now up over .320 easily. That 2-out single brings up John Singleton. Singleton 0 for 2 on the night. But I think it's a given that Robinson Cano is going to get the vote at second base.
It's the popular choice.
Yeah,
it's easy because part of this is a popularity contest.
On top of that, he's a deserving choice too.
Yeah.
Jose Altuve has to be on that club.
No doubt.
High drive, deep right field, but not deep enough. Singleton got under just a bit as Parra makes the play. That'll do it for Houston. No runs, a hit. Altuve stranded. We played 3.5, 4-0. Astros lead it.
In honor of Father's Day, come out to Minute Maid Park this Sunday to see your Astros take on the Tampa Bay Rays at 1:10 p.m. Plan to get to the park early as 10,000 fans will receive a barbecue grill set courtesy of Houston Methodist. To get your tickets, call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit astros.com.
It used to be the Bank One Ballpark. It is now Chase Field here in Arizona. And it's a beautiful ballpark. It's a good hitter's yard. What was your experience playing here?
I love playing here. This might be one of the best hitting backgrounds in all of baseball. But the ball flies here. People, don't expect it. But this is this is the second most elevated ballpark in all of baseball.
So this is higher than. They used to talk about it. Atlanta. The launching pad was the old ballpark there. How the ball carried. Then they went across the street and it seemed it turned into a pitcher's park right away. I'm not sure how that happened.
That was a big ballpark.
Yeah,
played real big.
390 plus to the gaps.
Yeah. Well, and it was open a little bit more than I remember the launching pad being. You get a good look at that batting eye. That big scoreboard really doesn't come into play when you're at the plate. It's just above the brim of your helmet. But that's a nice dark background.
Gregorius offers on the off-speed delivery. 1-2 the count. Didi Gregorius is the shortstop here this evening. Well, that's a good hammer that Cosart is featuring this evening. Gregorius, the leadoff man. That means Cosart has faced just 9 through the first 3. And he's retired every one of them. 5 strikeouts for Jared. This is what I have anticipated with Cosart and strikeouts all along, and yet it hasn't been the case. Certainly not last year.
I agree. I expected high strikeout totals. He only struck out 12 in his debut. Do that every time, huh?
Yeah, we saw the very best, obviously, in that debut in Tampa Bay, and we've seen some very good Jared Cosart since. He had that one rough one this year in Oakland, and it just ate his lunch. 1/3 of an inning, 7 earned runs. That'll kill a pitcher, especially early in the season. But he has been whittling back. Now it stays at 2-2.
Yeah, we found out that it was a blister issue out there in Oakland. He tried to battle through it, but to no avail. Paying the price for it ever since. Excuse me.
And speaking of blister issues, Colin McHugh yesterday. It was a blister issue that got him out of the game, and I think maybe even more importantly that got him out of the strike zone. He just couldn't feel the baseball anymore as Cosart now has the count run full.
Yeah, he had a pitch that was drawing a lot of criticism as being comparable to what 50 Cent did in a first pitch.
Did he take some heat with the teammates?
Took a little bit, I think, with the teammates. I saw Twitter caught on to it a little bit.
That was good.
That was entertaining.
3-2 pitch. High chopper to short. Coming on VR. Makes the play and has time as he gets Gregorius. There's a sign of maturity at shortstop. VR not trying to make it look too fancy. He saw it sizing up and made the play routinely.
Made a good break on it too. That first step was nice. Watch him in the background. Sees that, recognizes that high chop, but see him stutter step a little bit, gather himself behind that ball so he could time it perfectly. When that ball jumped up, almost turned it into a double play ball. Good quick exchange, strong throw.
So Cosart gets the leading man here in the 4th inning. It brings up Parra, and he takes a strike. Gerardo Parra, outstanding right fielder, hitting .271, has some pop. Good curveball for a called strike, and 0-2. These Diamondbacks again have been playing good baseball, but they're running into a buzzsaw right now. Big deep breath for Cosart. Just reaching out and spoiling kind of a protection swing there from Parra. Parra has scored 35 runs this year. Got a pretty good track record against Houston through the years. .347 batting average in 27 previous games. 9 doubles, 4 triples, a couple of bombs.
It's good to see Parra working into everyday position for the Diamondbacks. He won that Gold Glove a couple years ago and was basically a part-time outfielder.
You have to be mighty good to win a Gold Glove, you would think anyway, as a part-time player.
He was all over the place when he was in the game, laying out. He played all 3 outfield positions. Came up with some big throws. I think he led the league in assists that year. But I mean, he was an actual weapon on defense for us, cutting down some runs at home plate when we needed it.
Just inside, so for a second straight hitter after getting in front, 0-2, the count runs full. Well, Rafael Palmeiro showed that you can win a Gold Glove as a DH.
That is very true. I actually played with the guy who was playing first base all the time while he was at DH.
Is that right?
Lee Stevens. And we had some extensive conversations about how lopsided that was.
Now the first hitter for the Diamondbacks reaches tonight. A 1-out walk to Parra here in the 4th inning. That'll bring up the dangerous Paul Goldschmidt.
We just mentioned 50 Cent, that yard sale we saw from Colin McHugh, and here's a replay of that first pitch from 50 Cent. I'm only giggling because I know what's going to happen.
And that was not.
He almost hit the photographer on the baseline. What?
And allegedly he was warming up quite a bit before the game.
He was out of bullets. So maybe somebody told him to hit the bowl.
That would have been a pretty good photo with the ball coming right in the lens there, wouldn't it? Parra aboard. 1-out. Goldschmidt grounded out to first base in the 1st inning. The curveball misses. The Astros start the night 28-36. The Diamondbacks are 28-37, so just a half game difference there. Give you an idea how well the Giants have been playing in the National League West. They lead the division over second place 9.5 games, and here's a ground ball over the bag at third and down the left field side. Parra digs for third. He's being waved home. BR will hold on, and the Diamondbacks get on the board. RBI double Goldschmidt. It's 4-1 Houston.
Usual suspect for the Arizona Diamondbacks, picking up another RBI. It'll be 47 on the year for Paul Goldschmidt. See Castro set up outside. You make a mistake to a good hitter like Goldschmidt, even though the ball wasn't crushed. Just great placement down that left field line. Grossman did a pretty good job playing a tough corner here at Chase Field. Would have been curious to see VR give it a shot at home plate. Parra was only about halfway home when VR had the ball.
VR's got that great throwing arm. I'm with you. I would have loved to have seen that throw. So with 1 out, Parra draws the walk. He scores on the double by Goldschmidt. And now the cleanup man, Montero, at the plate. Jesus Montero has driven in 35. Make that Miguel Montero. Talking about the Giants, they're 42-21, 9.5 in front of second place LA. And a strike. It's 0-2.
I just really feel that Tim Hudson signing was a brilliant move by the San Francisco Giants.
Yeah. Well, it's worked out that way to this point.
Michael Morse having a bounce back year.
He had the game winner last night, didn't he?
Yeah. It's a pretty solid lineup. And Buster Posey quietly having a good year.
Why did they go so dormant in the odd number years and then play so well in the even number years?
They do not like prime numbers. That's all I could think of quickly. I'm sorry.
That was good. That's good. 13 is certainly a prime number. However,
that Bay Area is having a good time.
Yeah.
Oakland A's.
Yeah. The Oakland A's lead in the American League West by 4.5 in front of the Angels, who are actually playing pretty well. They're 6 games over 500, followed by Seattle and Texas. Rangers and Astros, the only teams under 500. Line shot into left field. That's a solid base hit. They'll hold the runner Goldschmidt at third base, so runners at first and third. Back-to-back hits. Those come on the heels of the walk to Parra, so the first 3 hitters to reach coming back-to-back here in the fourth.
Talking about those Northern California teams, the Oakland A's, San Francisco Giants. Some interesting numbers to look at. The run differential is a plus 128 for the Oakland Athletics. That tells me they've got phenomenal pitching, great hitting. Giants are up there, Toronto Blue Jays, Nationals. Those are all very good ball clubs right there, doing a great job pitching with that offense to back them up. Washington Nationals are starting to get hot. That's going to be an interesting series coming up for the Houston Astros. Angels and A's are going at it this week.
Well, you really get the idea with those numbers that the Oakland A's are actually better than anybody else right now.
It's pretty incredible.
Pitching and offense combined. Martin Prado stands in. He takes a strike. But again, it's the Giants with that 42-21 mark that lead the way.
Isn't that amazing?
That would be quite a series right now if Oakland matched up with the Giants. Hopefully no earthquake involved.
Yeah, that would not be a good thing to repeat.
Oh, 1 pitch, ground ball back to the mound. Cosart to Altuve on to first, and they get the key double play. So Cosart gets exactly what he wanted, and that'll do it for the Diamondbacks in the fourth. They get a couple of hits in their first base runners and their first run of the night. It's 4-1 Houston.
Only a 2-game set here in the desert. One more tomorrow afternoon. Astros will hop on a flight, go east into Texas, back home for only 5 games before heading back out on the road. 2 against the Diamondbacks with a weekend with the Tampa Bay Rays, Father's Day weekend, and then the day off on Monday. Probably be a travel day heading up into Washington, D.C. for 2 against the Nationals before heading south into Florida for a 4-game set against the Tampa Bay Rays.
Tomorrow's game to close things out here in Arizona, it'll be Brad Peacock going to the mound against Bronson Arroyo. And then as the homestand begins, Dallas Keuchel and Scott Feldman will pitch the first couple of games for the Astros. Make your plans to join us. Love to see you at Minute Maid Park. Jason Castro leads it off.
People better show up and watch Dallas Keuchel pitch the way he's been going.
Well, we need to talk about him too. Castro bangs one deep right center field, going back and making a great play is the center fielder Inciarte We've talked about his defense. He can go get it.
Maybe they should call him the fly ball ender out in center field. That ball was stroked.
Nice.
By Jason Castro. Disappointing. He hit a bullet a little bit lower in that gap that Inciarte was unable to get to, but just a little too much hang time for the speedster out there. A lot of room to roam here at Chase Field, too.
I like that one. That's good. Fly ball ender. Ender Inciarte. And Jason Castro. I don't think he was real pleased right there. Matt Dominguez has a sac fly, driving in his 26th on the year. He is also lined to right field. Both balls going to right for Matt tonight, staying on the pitch well. For a ball evens things. Let's take a look at that catch again.
You don't mind guys making plays on you at 280.
Oh, yes, you do.
Around 225.
Sure you do.
I'm a little annoyed.
Pitch hit in the air down the right side. If you're hitting 280, aren't you thinking about 300?
Me?
Sure you were.
I'm trying to sit on 280.
There's only one way to sit there. You got to get your knocks.
Pull an hamstring.
I've never seen a guy who was tickled about losing a hit.
I'll tell you what, if you're ever satisfied playing the game of baseball, you shouldn't be playing.
You're right. Ground ball hit to the left side, and it's off the glove of the third baseman on through into left field. So Matt Dominguez hits one the other way this time and gets himself a knock. 1 for 2 on the night. For the Astros, hit number 7.
Good location by Matty D. As a shortstop, that's tough. You want your third baseman to be aggressive going to get that ball, but I'm sure with him, Prado, I mean, getting elevated, trying to dive and catch that ball, threw off Didi Gregorius a little bit. Still, if he does catch, it's going to take an amazing play to get Dominguez going down the line at first.
And once you get that tip flip, it's all over. And that's why a third baseman has to know his limitations. If you start tipping balls, you're making mistakes. Ground ball hit to second by Robbie Grossman. He'll feed onto Gregorius and onto first, and they get the double play. That's the first one turned by the Diamondbacks tonight as they match the Astros. The Astros a hit and leave nobody.
Fans, join us for
Houston Astros baseball is brought to you by AT&T Uverse TV. Check availability at 1-800-PICK-ATT. Rethink possible. And by 5-Hour Energy. 5-Hour Energy helps recognize those who, despite their own needs, put others first. Cosart finds the strike zone with his first pitch here in the inning. We're in the bottom of the 5th inning. Aaron Hill leading it off. He's the 6th hitter for the D-backs. As an 0-2 count, Hill struck out in the second inning. He met up with that great curveball of Jared Cosart, and no contact was made. There is the curveball, but Hill lays off this one. Jared Cosart has struck out 5. He's gotten 1 double play, and he started that himself, and it came at a perfect time. After 1 out in the 4th inning, the Diamondbacks got their first base runner. Parra drew a walk. He scored on a double by Paul Goldschmidt at the first hit for the D-backs, and Montero had a base hit. They had runners at first and third, but then Prado grounded into the 1-4-3, and now Hill disposed of for the second time tonight.
Did not look like a comfortable at bat for Aaron Hill.
Is that the slider?
This is still a slider about 94 miles an hour.
Oh, that's the cutter then. Yeah, I just glanced up to see that. It sure did. That's a big break on that one. Peralta sees that curveball bend in for a strike. Boy, when Jared Cosart is throwing that curveball for called strikes, and then the fastball is in the zone, going to be a long night for the hitters. The Astros are 6-4 over their last 10. They're 12-8 in their last 20, and over the last 30 games, the Astros are 18-12. It's the second time tonight we've seen a swing right over the fastball. A little bit rare.
Yeah, swinging over the top. You're right. That is a little rare. It tells you that the hitter's not picking up the ball too well.
It might have been Peralta the first time.
I think it was. Punched down his first at bat on a 2-strike cutter.
Peralta with a 7-game hitting streak. Just playing in his 9th game. Inside corner, Cosart spots one. Back-to-back strikeouts here in the 5th inning, and 7 on the night.
That really wasn't fair right there by Jared Cosart. That was the 4-seamer right there that kind of came back over the plate.
Yeah, I'd be curious if that was his no-seamer. The little runner back to their arm side.
No-seamer.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's a 2-seamer in reality, but. Or did he call it the 1-seamer? Which he calls it the 1-seamer. You know, there's only so much you can do with a baseball, which was why I was so anxious to see the gyro ball a few years back. I wanted to know what Daisuke Matsuzaka was doing. Remember when he came from Japan and he had the gyro ball?
Oh yeah, the shutout. Yeah, kind of a split change, splange.
A ball and a strike. Inciarte at the plate, and I imagine Jason Castro would love to get Inciarte to strike out embarrassingly right here after that great play Inciarte made on the drive by Jason.
Did you ever say anything to a defensive guy who made a great play on one of your hits?
Of course.
Said next one's in your ear. Then proceeded to make 3 pitches on the outside corner to punch him out.
Enjoy this at bat, pal.
Say you deserved it.
That little cutter coming in on the hands. Inciarte, the 8-hitter for the Diamondbacks. The Astros picking up 2 in the first, 2 more in the second inning. RBIs for Matt Dominguez, Jose Altuve, and Jason Castro. And Altuve with 3 hits on the night. He's pushed that hit total to 88. Count stays at 2-2.
You know, I misspoke earlier about Jared Cosart's strikeouts in a game career-wise. He only struck out 8. He's done it twice. Last time he did it was against the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim back on June 4th. Right now he's got 7 strikeouts here at the bottom of the 5th inning.
Again on the hands and again fouled off. Well, if he can throw this cutter for a strike, I would say throw it all night long. I would never try to take that pitch away from Jared Cosart.
And that's exactly what Brad Ausmus said after he faced the Detroit Tigers up in Detroit. Brad said that he would just set it down the middle and tell that kid to let it go.
And now the count runs full. Well, Cosart has had a tough time dealing with prosperity in terms of balls and strikes. He'll get ahead and then that count will swing back the other way. But only 2 hits against Jared tonight. Again on the hands.
That'll slow Inciarte down.
Jason Castro going out to the mound to tell Cosart that's the way. Punish him another time or two.
That's that one step I need to get that ball to drop in the outfield. No, I've seen in recent years guys that have really good cutters and throw it quite firm like Jared Cosart does. Guys will take swings and they'll foul it off, and they do get on top of the ball, which is kind of rare, but instead of fouling it off that front foot, they'll foul it off that back leg, and that's just an awkward, uncomfortable feeling.
When Jared Cosart made that outing in Oakland, lasting just a third of an inning and allowing 7 earned runs, his ERA jumped to 7.36. But he's got a chance tonight to get it below the 4 mark. Ground ball hit to short. VR with the play. And a 1-2-3 5th inning. Jared Cosart cruising along with a 4-1 lead.
Check out Sportsnet Central every night at 6:10 and midnight on Comcast Sportsnet. We welcome you back to Chase Field, where they have some new concessions this year. You are looking at the D-Bat dog, corn dog stuffed with bacon, cheese, jalapenos. They also have the Venom dog. Now, I asked you which one I should try on Twitter, and you guys chose the Venom dog. It's a habanero sausage with all the fixins, and I'm just going to get after this. Wow. It's spicy. Back to you.
We'll leave it with you, Julia. Take your time.
That's good.
Actually, that sounds really good.
Mexican dish.
Sounds very good. We go to the 6th inning. The Astros enjoying a 4-1 lead. As Alex Presley leads it off, he has walked and grounded out. Presley hitting .238. Third baseman drawn in on Alex. Cole Mentor allowed 2 runs in the first, 2 more in the 2nd inning. That's been it for Houston. They've had just 2 base runners since. A couple of base hits, one by Altuve, who has 3 on the night, the other by Matt Dominguez. Jared Cosart has allowed just 2 hits to the Diamondbacks. He came back-to-back in the 4th inning and produced a run along with a walk. Paul Goldschmidt and Miguel Montero with the other hit. 3-1. Alex Presley trying to find a way to get aboard. Alex pops it up shallow in right field. Aaron Hill back on the grass. He'll make the catch, and out number 1 here in the 6th. Julia was describing the dogs that she was dealing with tonight.
Venom dog, 12-inch habanero sausage, beans, sour cream, guac.
Shortstop,
D-bat dog,
VR.
18 inches. My goodness. Wait, oh, it's stuffed with cheese and bacon with French fries. I thought for a second that the French fries were inside too. Good grief.
Which way would you go there?
I'd probably have one of them and head for the exit.
Jonathan VR showing bunt. Backs away and takes inside. He struck out twice tonight, once swinging, once looking. VR now at .202 with the batting average. Yeah, that's a good example of kind of pulling off just a little early. Ball hits right off the end of the bat.
To be expected on a cold winter changeup. 79 miles an hour on that one.
We mentioned the Diamondbacks have been playing much better baseball after a terrible start. They're 17-13 in their last 30. A little bit of a cutter there, a little Cosart like.
Minus 10 miles an hour.
Well, yeah, there is that.
That good late movement, though.
If you want to get technical. Ball hit sharply. There's Jonathan VR, but he hits it right to Prado, drawn in at third base. That's 2 down here in the 6th inning. But I like that at bat.
You're just giving yourself a better chance to get on base if you're Jonathan VR by doing that. That's a tougher play than it looked. Prado playing in, but that ball was on him pretty quickly because Jonathan hit it pretty well.
Yeah, I think that's the one in the dugout that you go up and say, Jonathan, I know you made an out, but that's really good. Lock in there if you can.
It's a good place to be.
Jared Cosart at the plate, 0 for 2. Big high leg kick for Jared.
Trying a little bit of anything up there.
See that look on his face as he looks toward the Astros dugout.
He's just having a blast up there right now.
I'm hitting in the big leagues, Mom. Oh, that's good. That's priceless with the look. Diamondbacks have won the last 9 meetings they've had with the Astros.
You know what's funny is he's probably got about 24 hitting coaches in the dugout right now. Yeah. Everybody's top shelf laughing at him and encouraging.
This is really fun time for the guys. Now in the National League, it's kind of passé. You see it all the time, but for the American League coming in,
and there's a little more expectation in the National League. You figure, the first month you kind of giggle a little bit, but after that, no, seriously, you got to give us a better at bat. But this doesn't happen all the time for an American League team.
I don't know if you played with the same guys I played with, but all these pitchers would say, I hit 900 in high school or college or whatever, but it doesn't quite show up here. Cosart grounds out again to the right side. A 1-2-3 6th. Colementer settling in, but maybe a bit late. 4-1 Houston.
MTV Rewind, and it is the Jared Cosart Show, striking out Arizona Diamondbacks this afternoon. Showed a good breaking ball, good fastball. He's got a couple of no seam, one seam, three seam, four seam. It doesn't matter what he's throwing up there right now. The first time the Diamondbacks have a chance to see Cosart, they are not enjoying it one bit right now. 7 strikeouts. Coming into the bottom of the 6th inning here for Jared Cosart, pounding that zone, doing a great job, really aggressive inside that. Only 1 walk on the evening for him.
I want to see you demonstrate that 3-seam. I've never met that pitch.
It's magical.
Cosart into the strike zone right away. Josh Colementor, the opposing pitcher at the plate, hitting 0-43. Little tapper toward the mound. Cosart will make the easy play, and out number 1 here in the 6th.
See if we can't pull up some numbers to describe what Jared Cosart is doing. Strike percentage is going up in 2014. First pitch strikes going way up, and I think that's really beneficial to a guy like Jared Cosart. We've seen him throw the fastball for strikes early. He's also gotten a couple of first pitch breaking balls over, but when you get ahead, that just opens up the door for him to do anything he wants with some of those great pitches that he has.
So that's the last couple of games, and yeah, he's throwing more strikes and enjoying things. I would think quite a bit. He's certainly enjoying things when he has a bat in his hand. Although he hasn't picked up a hit, I have a feeling bragging rights might be pretty strong for Jared.
You got to say it again, Brent Strom.
Yeah.
What a job he's
Isn't it
doing.
true? Yeah, you are ever so right with that one. Little cutter finds the outside edge. 1-1 the count. Guys have been working some magic. The year started, and it looked like the pitching staff was going to be a disaster.
It really did. I thought there was going to be a lot of movement in that starting rotation, a lot of movement in that bullpen with guys getting beat up. But he's done a good job staying the course with these kids. Don't forget John Maley on the other side. We were a little worried about him in April. We had to take his shoelaces from him.
No sheets were allowed.
Yep.
Here's a line shot. It's going to be the 3rd hit of the night for the Diamondbacks. Fowler cuts it off and gets it back in. A little more urgency from the outfield right now. Saw early in the year some guys stretching, taking extra bases. Not here. 1-out single for the leadoff man, Gregorius.
Great guess. Hot topics and no holds barred debate. Kevin Eschenfelder serves it up fresh every single night on Sports Talk Live every weeknight at 5 p.m. only on Comcast Sportsnet.
I guess when you're inside with the roof closed, it doesn't matter. You can't tell sometimes if it's a day game or night game. Night games have not been kind to Cosart on the year. He's 1-4, but trying to get that turned around. 3-1 in 5 starts during the daytime. It's the 2-hitter. Gerardo Parra at the plate. One of the better arms you've played with?
Yeah, he was eerily reminiscent of a young Vladimir Guerrero.
That good?
Yeah.
Wow. Guys saw some rave reviews on him as a right fielder last couple of years.
I would actually say that Gerardo Parra's accuracy is much better than Vladimir's was.
Now, I saw a guy for a number of years in Toronto, Jose Bautista. He could really throw, and his accuracy was pinpoint.
Remember watching Raul Mondesi?
Yes, great arm.
Guy.
Great arm.
Wow. I couldn't take him for granted.
A ball and a strike, 1 out, a runner aboard. And ball hit in the air, right center field, long run for Fowler. He won't get there. And there was no problem with the read for Gregorius. And now with the ball knocked down in center, a run is going to score. That should go as a single and an E8 to bring the run in. But Parra alertly digs into second base. And now we've got a 4-2 ball game.
That for me was just an excellent job of base running by Didi Gregorius. He was off with the crack of the bat. That tells me that he was doing a little scouting while he was on first base, watching where these Houston Astros players were playing in the outfield. He recognized that Fowler wasn't going to have a chance, and this ball hit off the end of the bat and dropped in front of Dexter Fowler. But watch Gregorius, puts his head down, doesn't hesitate one bit, and that makes it easy for the third base coach Sherlock to send him home. I don't know what Marty Foster better.
Marty Foster's been around long enough to know not to do this. Making life really tough for the base runners, and now the Diamondbacks making life tough on Jared Cosart. 4-2, a runner in scoring position with one out. Paul Goldschmidt at the plate. Curveball almost takes a bite out of him. So an error has gone on the board. Charge that to Dexter Fowler. So no RBI for Parra. Curve misses just a bit for Foster.
And that's the second one we've seen tonight with Marty Foster. Not sure what position he's trying to get into, but he's extremely lucky that Gregorius is a lanky kid. Extremely nice.
Well, you would think after all these years for Marty Foster that he'd have a better spot than that from which to be able to call that play. Cut fastball fouled back. 2-1 the count. The Astros jumped out to a 4-0 lead, and now the Diamondbacks scratching and clawing. That 9-game winning streak by the Diamondbacks over the Astros, the longest current streak by a major league team over another. And now 3-1 the count. This is not a guy you want to mess with. But then Miguel Montero waits on deck. The last team to win at least 10 in a row against the Astros. That doesn't have to go back very far to figure out who it was. The Texas Rangers of last year. They won 11 consecutive against Houston. Oof. Three and one the count. And a one-out walk. Second walk issued by Cosart. Runners at first and second for the cleanup man, Montero.
Brent Strom's going to come out and have a chat with Jared.
Strami taking that long walk out. 4 runs, 7 hits, an error for Houston. 2 runs, 4 hits, an error for the Diamondbacks.
Probably just a casual conversation. Give Jared a chance to breathe a little bit, tell him he's doing all right. Get back to pounding that zone, keep the ball down, get himself a ground ball. Montero, great double play candidate.
With that reaction by Cosart on the mound, one that I've seen 1,000 times in my playing days, where the pitcher just wants to be left alone, but everybody wants to talk at him, and he just wants to take that breather, maybe wipe the brow and move along. I played with a number of pitchers who the last thing on earth they wanted was people at the mound talking to him.
Must have played with a bunch of grumpy guys.
I did. Well, if you had me coming out to talk to you, huh?
Not Ash again.
Yeah.
Good grief.
There you go. Miguel Montero at the plate, left-hand hitter. The Astros have turned one double play, and they'd love to get another right here. The velocity has dropped off a bit since the first couple of innings for Jared. We haven't seen that 96-97 Cosart this year like we saw last year. There's the outside edge, a ball and a strike.
It's a good pitch, come back.
This has been a very difficult ballpark for the Astros in recent years. The Astros are 17-6, or rather the Diamondbacks against Houston, 17-6 since the start of 2007. These two clubs did not meet up last year. Ball hit down the left field side, moving toward the line and can't quite get there is Robbie Grossman. A good effort by Robbie. Cosart ahead in the count, 1-2. Montero on the night is 1 for 2. Jason Castro having one more chat with Cosart. With the 1 for 2 night, Montero has reached safely in 11 of his last 12 games. It's been an iron horse for the Diamondbacks this year as Tony Sipp gets loose now in the Astros pen. Montero 58 games behind the plate already. Line shot, that's into right center field, base hit. That's going to score a run. Parra comes in. Run number 3 on the night. Stopping at second base is Goldschmidt. And with that base hit, it's a 1-run game. 4-3. Astros on top of the D-backs.
Not a bad pitch over that outside corner. Maybe he hung up a little bit. Try and bury that with 2 strikes, but Montero just does a better job of going out there and shooting it right back up the middle for that RBI single.
36 RBIs now for the Diamondbacks catcher. Still just 1 out. Cosart got the leadoff man Cole Mentor to tap back weakly toward the mound, and since then 3 hits and a walk. Tying run at second. And a big lead for Goldschmidt, who looked like he might have even thought about taking off.
You don't want to fall asleep on Goldschmidt. Just because he's a big guy doesn't mean he can't run a little bit.
Martin Prado at the plate.
4 bags on the year for Paul Goldschmidt. Been caught twice.
Diamondbacks have not been a huge base stealing club. Not like the Astros in that regard. They have stolen 36. And now the count at 0-2 on Prado. And they've been caught 11 times. They're right in the middle of the pack in terms of those stolen base in the National League.
So Goldschmidt creeping off. That's what you were talking about, Ash. Keeping that guy bouncing. What they teach pitchers is just make him stop. You want to have that guy either going back to the bag or just in a sedentary position. You don't want to have him creeping towards third.
Half swing, he goes through. That's a big second out. Strikeout number 8 for Jared. And now with 2 down, it brings up Aaron Hill.
Second baseman.
That feeble swing from Prado will tie a career high for Jared Cosart. 8 strikeouts this evening. Second time he's done it this year.
Aaron Hill has provided 2 of the strikeouts tonight for Cosart. Dangerous hitter. That cutter is really starting to sail now.
I wonder if Jared's getting a little fatigued. Even though we are playing under a roof, still pretty warm in here. 102 pitches on the evening for Jared Cosart. This is an extremely high stress inning for him right now with all these base runners.
This is what seems to happen with Jared when he tires a bit. He starts yanking that fastball and missing badly away.
Well, it seems like when he gets tired, that head I'm not sure if it's just a fatigue reaction by his body, but that head really leaks out and jerks out of the way, and then that arm comes dragging behind. And the only way you try and get your arm to catch up with that body, sometimes you hold on to the ball a little bit longer.
Ground ball left side. VR on to Altuve, and they get the force. That'll do it for the Diamondbacks in a 2-run 6th inning. They've made it a game, 4-3.
Top of the 7th here in Phoenix. Celebrate Faith and Family Night with your Houston Astros Saturday, June 14th, following the 3:10 game against the Rays, featuring a post-game concert with Christian rock band Mercy Me. For tickets, call or visit astros.com/faith, or you can call too if you like.
That's not bad.
Call Ash if you want to. Hey, Ash.
Hey, what's going on, Julia?
What's going on? Oh, that's good stuff.
Julia, you having fun?
Always.
Yeah, there
I'm full. And
You're full.
Yeah, I had a great Venom dog.
There might be some venom going on. I don't know. This is instructional time. Maybe just settle down time in the dugout. Jared Cosart and Jason Castro chatting things over. That's usually where you get your best information, when you just calm it down in the dugout. A lot of times those pitchers are on overload when they're on the hill. Dexter Fowler 2 for 3 on his night. A couple of singles to start things out. Scored a pair of runs. He struck out in the 4th inning. Josh Colmenter looked like he might be a guy that may not hang around very long tonight after the first 2 innings, but he has settled in. And now his Diamondbacks within a run of Houston. Pitch is hit high and deep towards center field, going back on the track. Inciarte makes the play. 1 up, 1 down, and Dexter Fowler is swinging a dangerous looking bat.
Second baseman, Jose Altuve.
You know, but sometimes those meetings in the dugout that we just saw might include what has gone on during the course of the week. You work in the bullpen, and you talk about, well, the last time I was out there, that cutter started to get away from me after I got a little bit tired middle of the game, and then there was one thing suggested that might help a bit, and you just go back to that reminder and try to make sure you can get back to basics. Jose Altuve 3 for 3. He has a 1-1 count here in the 7th. With those 3 hits, Altuve now hitting .322. What a year he is putting together. And he pops it up on the left side. Shallow in center. Gregorius with the play, and 2 down here in the 7th inning.
John Singleton coming up. Get a chance to look at his spray chart. Not too much going the other way. Not too much going up the middle. That's the only thing that really caught my eye in watching Singleton on this road trip is that some of these balls have a tendency to be yanked. And we really haven't gotten a good sample to see what's actually going on with the young man or how he makes the adjustment. But for the time being, he is in yank mode.
Yeah, we haven't seen him utilize left field, and that's okay if you're hitting home runs and extra bases. It may be simply the way he goes about business. Hasn't shown himself to be a big strikeout guy. Alex Rios for the Texas Rangers has a couple of more hits tonight. He has 83, but again Altuve with the 3 knocks tonight. So that gives Altuve a 5-hit lead when you're talking about guys with the most hits in the league. There's that half swing fouling it back is Singleton.
Get these big guys taking these big hacks, aggressive. Sometimes it's tough to stop the swings.
Melky Cabrera has picked up a base hit. Pretty good battle going on in terms of hits leader in the league. That batting average race, it's way early to be talking about these things, but it's shaping up nicely. 2-2 now on Singleton. 2 outs in the 7th inning. And strike 3 called, top of the strike zone. Everybody wants that one if you're pitching. A 1, 2, 3, 7. That's 5 strikeouts for Cole Mentor.
Are leading the Diamondbacks 4-3 going into the bottom of the 7th inning, and this moment in history is brought to you by MD Anderson, making cancer history. It's going a long ways back. Honus Wagner back in June 9th, 1914. At the Baker Bowl, the Flying Dutchman becomes the 2nd player in the history of the game to collect 3,000 hits when he doubles off Philadelphia's Erskine Mayer, I believe is how it's said.
What do you mean you believe?
You know, it looks
never
like
met the guy.
Puzzle.
How'd you do at the Baker Bowl?
I don't know. Were you behind the plate when he got that hit?
Nice. Tony Sipp comes on to working for the Astros in his 13th game now. How do you like that whip for Tony Sipp?
You're a poet and don't know it.
I actually wasn't even trying to play with that, but
that was well done. I appreciate that, but that whip is pretty good. Well under that 1 mark that you enjoy.
Yeah, 1's the mark. If a guy's right close to 1 or under there, you know he's really pitching well. 0.69, that's insane. Tony Sipp last time out a couple of days ago in Minnesota. In fact, he pitched twice in that Minnesota series. The last one, an inning and a third of shutout ball. So the assignment for Tony Sipp, keep it right here. 4-3, the Astros with the lead here in the first of two with the Diamondbacks. But these D-backs have come back from a 4-0 deficit. Bottom three in the order here in the seventh inning. And that first pitch fouled down the left side. Peralta 0 for 2, a couple of strikeouts. Again, toting that 7-game hitting streak. Though Tony Sipp hasn't had a lot of base runners against him, he has allowed a couple of home runs in 11 2/3 innings. But he's also struck out 16. That has been a big weapon. And now gets ahead 0-2.
Probably got a little bit of an edge on himself here, pitching back at Chase Field, where he pitched last year for a little bit. But even last year, his strikeout numbers were pretty high. 37 2/3 innings last year, 42 strikeouts.
And he gets another one right here. Castro stays with it and applies the tag. First out in the seventh inning. 9 strikeouts of Arizona hitters.
3 for Peralta. A rough night for that young man. Good sweeping slider from Tony Sipp. Down in the zone. Tough to lay off.
One out. Ender Inciarte at the plate. Had a great play on a drive hit by Jason Castro. That back in the 5th inning. It looked like Castro had a second extra base hit on the night. But Inciarte, a terrific running grab. And that's exactly what we were told. Guy can really go get it. Pops it foul back to us just below. Great D a lot of times comes with a bat that's not all that hot. 192 is the average. And obviously Bo Porter here in the 7th inning trying to utilize this left arm against left-hand hitters.
Cody Ross on deck, hitting for Josh Cole-Mentor.
Inciarte has grounded out a couple of times. One and two the count.
Not sure if I noticed it before, but Tony Sipp is a pretty deliberate guy out there on the mound.
Oh, I've noticed it. He can really slow it down. Brad Peacock tomorrow night against Bronson Arroyo. Pitch is hit on the ground right there to Singleton. He'll go to the bag. And out number 2 here in the 7th inning. And now Cody Ross will come up as a pinch hitter.
Enjoy a Father's Day picnic on the field at Minute Maid Park on June 15th after the 1:10 p.m. game against the Tampa Bay Rays. Admission includes a game ticket, post-game picnic buffet in the outfield, autograph session, and much more. For tickets, visit astros.com/picnic.
So here's your National League Baseball. The pitcher spot due up with 2 outs in the 7th inning. You go to the bench. Cody Ross, a guy who's done it for a long time and done it quite well, but this year struggling, hitting 191, and takes a strike on the inside corner. Ross has a home run, 8 RBIs. He's played in 40 games.
Been battling the injury bug of late.
Diamondbacks put Eric Chavez on the DL today. And they also had a big release as they got rid of a guy who's been very successful in the past, right-hand pitcher Trevor Cahill, and they owe him a good chunk of money. Swing and a miss by Ross. 1-2 the count. Cahill is signed guaranteed through this year and next. $12 million next year, and he's got a couple more years on that deal. So the Diamondbacks really making a statement that Cahill just cannot pitch on this team right now. Two and two. George Springer was in the original lineup, a little bit of a sore right knee, and he was scratched. Back on Cahill, he was an 18-game winner in 2010. And now 3-2. Pat with the Oakland A's. Had one more year with Oakland, came on to the Diamondbacks, went 13-12, but has struggled a bit since. Kind of hard to believe that a hitter could feel like Tony Sipp is rushing him.
I'm sorry, Ash, what'd you say? I just woke up.
Yeah, I mean, it's
pretty impressive.
It's unfortunate that
only to sleep.
So much of the game gets this way. And ball 4 as Sipp just drives the fastball in the dirt. 2-out walk. That'll bring it back to the top with the leadoff man, Gregorius.
Shortstop, T.V. Gregorius.
D.I.D.I. Didi Gregorius playing at shortstop tonight. Cody Ross would not figure to run down at first. He is yet to attempt a stolen base this year. Gregorius 1 for 3 on the night. Good fastball at 93.
Man, that was a great. I don't know Tony Sipp had that in the tank.
And the glove sounded really good.
Sure did.
The ball rode out pretty well. Yeah, if they had a 12 or 15-second clock for pitchers, I think Tony Sipp would really have to work on things to make that work. 1-1 the count.
Yeah, put him on the clock.
We had Bud Selig on with us, Brownie and I did in Houston. And after he was on the air in between innings, I asked him about pace of game, and he was very interested. He said they are highly concerned about the slow pace of the games, and that they want to do something. We're looking at so many games now that are in that 3.5-hour range and plus. I just don't see it as a good thing for the game.
It's a pretty good size chunk of time you got to cut out to come down to a ball game. When you've got 81 home games, that's a lot to ask of a fan. I mean, granted, there are fans out there that absolutely love the game and want to be out there and watch the game, and we love them for it, but it can be a daunting task.
Ball hit in the air and deep to right field, back on the track, and making the play is Alex Presley. So you grab a big, deep breath and enjoy the 4-3 lead.
Larry Durker for an autograph signing at Whataburger. Head to 13270 Northwest Freeway from 11 to noon on June 12th. Sign up to be the Whataburger fan and win great prizes, including lunch with Reed Ryan. Visit Astros.com for more info, guys.
Thanks a lot, Julia. Jason Castro will lead it off here in the 8th inning. The Astros with a 1-run lead now over the Diamondbacks, and the offense could stand a little bit of a push once again. They'll do it against right-hander Will Harris, who comes on to work for Arizona.
Pretty good numbers down in Reno for Will Harris. 3-2 record, 1.13 ERA. He's earned the right to come down here, doing a great job against, coming up here I should say, and doing a great job against left-handed hitters.
So he gets that left-handed bat of Jason Castro. Dominguez and Grossman follow, so a couple of right-handed bats. From the stretch he brings it. Jason Castro swinging the bat well tonight. He's been hit by a pitch and then doubled. That plated a run in the 2nd inning. The Astros had mounted a 2-0 or make that a 4-0 lead after an inning and a half. Castro also drove one to right center in the 5th inning. A great running catch by Inciarte. One ball and one strike. Diamondbacks have veteran right-hander J.J. Putz on the DL. Ground ball right side with the shift on. Aaron Hill there to make the play, and out number 1.
I believe J.J. Putz is one of the moves they made today.
Oh, he's back with that.
Yeah.
He is one of the moves today. You're right. Thank you for that cover.
No worries.
With one out, it brings up Matt Dominguez. Sac fly that drove in his 26th of the year in the 1st inning. Lined out and singled. 1 for 2 on the night for Matty D. Batting average at .247. Bottom of the batting order, 6 through 9, yet to pick up a hit for Houston. But the top of the order, Fowler, Altuve in particular, have had another big night. Dexter Fowler with a pair of hits. Altuve has 3 on the night. Singleton, Castro, and Dominguez all with 1.
can't believe you lumped Cosart into those numbers. Those bottom three in the order. It's unfair.
Well, you've got to. He's a hitter. Jerome Williams is getting it loose for Houston. Good curveball. 2-2 the count. If you're going to take a stick to the plate, you got to account for your numbers. Good home run park, but we haven't seen a long ball tonight. Notice how I made sure to say that with the Astros hitting and not the Diamondbacks.
Good move on your part.
Matt Dominguez had just 3 hits in that Minnesota series. Here's a drive down the right side and deep in the corner. It curls foul. Matt Dominguez has been hitting a number of balls toward right field here this evening. I was going to mention the 3 hits for Matt in Minnesota all came in game 1 of the 3-game series. Wound up going 0 for 5, scoring a run in yesterday's game. A 14-5 victory for the Astros, their biggest offensive output of the year. Little cutter dribbled third base side. Going to have to eat this one. Matt Dominguez has himself a rare infield single. And his second hit on the night comes with 1 out and brings up Robbie Grossman.
Beauty. Salvage.
Never hurts when you can pick this one up.
He got a hit on the day, but that's a beauty. That'll get that average up to 250.
Paul Goldschmidt and Matt Dominguez having a chat down there. Robbie Grossman 0 for 3. Reached on an error, actually a fielder's choice technically for Robbie. Struck out and grounded into a double play. Hits it in the air down the left side. Long run. This is going to drop for a hit. Stopping at second is Dominguez. Back-to-back hits. Dominguez and Grossman. And the Astros have something going here in the 8th inning as it brings up Alex Presley.
Doesn't look like much now, but tomorrow those are going to be 2 rockets.
Just line shots. And for the Astros, 9 hits on the night.
Be nice for the Astros after you're ragging on that bottom part of the order to string a couple of these hits together, drive in a couple more runs, get some of that insurance that the Astros need.
Is that the way you heard it?
Oh, absolutely.
I bet you're going to go run to the guys and tell them, huh?
Like, you can't believe what Ash just said about you guys.
Make sure and tell Cosart, okay?
Have to have a hitting clinic next time we go to Houston.
Well, that'll be on your call. We'll have to fly you in for that one.
Cheap rates.
One out, runners at first and second. We're in the 8th inning. Astros trying to add to this 4-3 lead. And Presley takes the strike. It's 0-2. It would appear that Jerome Williams will be coming in to work the bottom of the 8th inning. Ball's quiet in the Diamondbacks pen down the left side. Little half swing going through. Presley down on strikes. 2 down here in the 8th inning.
Every second Wednesday of the month, local up-and-coming artists perform on Sports Talk Live CSN Soundstage. Robert Frith is the artist on Wednesday, June 11th at 5 p.m. only on Comcast Sportsnet. I believe that is Mr. Frith in the background.
Guitar player? Have to check that out.
Yeah. I think I can get you tickets.
I'll bet you will have access. Jonathan VR at the plate. 0 for 3, a couple of strikeouts. So VR gets hot yesterday when he gets reinserted into the lineup, picks up 3 hits, and now right back to the struggles a bit. Big chance to pick up a knock as Chris Carter has a bat waiting in the on deck circle. That's the 9 spot in the Astros order. Snap throw down to second base, and a nice play by Gregorius, the shortstop, laying out to keep this in the infield.
Bodies everywhere.
Montero does like to do some throwing.
Oh, he's not afraid. Well, hopped up on Advil, seeing guys creeping around out there trying to get an extra out.
Ooh, that's a very nice effort by his shortstop. Jared Cosart worked 6 innings tonight, 5 hits allowed, 3 runs all earned, a couple of walks and 8 strikeouts. Line shot center field, it's hanging, and coming on to make a great play is Inciarte. Now this guy can play some center field. That'll do it for Houston. They have a couple of hits and leave them. It's still 4-3. The Diamondbacks, Springer, Singleton, and the Astros finish off the road trip. That's tomorrow afternoon right here in the Desert Heat against the Diamondbacks. Pre-game live starts at 2 o'clock only on Comcast Sportsnet.
I got another good idea, Ash. Why don't we take a look at tomorrow's pitching matchup brought to you by Chevron. They want you to care for your car. For the Houston batting average against him is going to be Bronson Arroyo. 5-4 on the season, 4.5 ERA. He's done a pretty good job back when he was pitching for the Cincinnati Reds against those Houston Astros. 13-7 on his career.
It's a pretty good call on your part. What have you thought watching Brad Peacock recently?
He's been doing all right down in the zone. He is a fly ball pitcher, but I think if he can create that angle down in the zone and still work in that good slider that we saw, he should be reasonably successful. Another guy that could use a changeup.
Yes, yeah, and he's actually mixed in a few recently. Tony Sipp is still on. He is there for the left-handed bat of Parra. Gerardo Parra on his night, 1 for 2. He's walked and singled. Struck out back in the first inning. Jared Cosart made that strikeout a larger part of things once again. And again, 8 punch-outs for Jared tonight in his 6 innings. Jerome Williams continues to stay loose in the Astros pen, likely to come on following Parra. Waiting on deck is Paul Goldschmidt, the right-hand hitter. Tony Sipp will rub up a baseball.
I'm surprised there's any leather left on that thing.
The 1-1 pitch coming. So 1-2 now as Parra leads off the 8th inning. 2-3-4 here for the Diamondbacks in the 8th. Sip came on to work in the 7th and gets the strikeout. Nice play by Jason Castro. That slider foul tipped and hung on to by Castro. Out number 1. And that's going to do it. Bo Porter coming out. Bo Porter is going to make a double switch. He's coming straight out to the home plate umpire.
He's bringing a glove with him. I've never seen that before.
I have never seen it myself. So for the Astros, the last man to make an out was Jonathan DR. And we'll see if it's played that way, where you bring on Marwin Gonzalez, put him in the 9 spot, and switch spots, put the pitcher in the 8th spot in the batting order. Now, what's the manager got a glove for? What's that all about?
They're playing Tetris right now with the lineup card, I think. But I'm not sure. We know it's a left-handed throwing person. Tony Sip is going to stay in the game.
Oh my goodness.
This is awesome. This is what I was talking about in the open, Ash.
Yeah?
This is great.
You like yourself some National League play?
I love National League play, but I love it even more when things like this happen.
Well, Presley was the second out of the 8th inning, the top of the 8th. And so
where is Tony Sip going to go?
Yeah, I'm kind of curious why.
Are you going to put Tony Sip in left field with the big hitting Paul Goldschmidt?
No, you're going to put him in right field, I have a feeling. There he goes to right field. But I'm curious as to why Bo didn't choose to just go straight, go the typical switch with Marwin Gonzalez coming in for beyond.
Well, that is the traditional switch, and it would make sense to me because in recent days we've seen Margot do a great job defensively, did a great job with the stick in his hand too. He would be the one leading off next inning, but for whatever reason, Bo Porter's got a master plan. And again, we are sitting up here enjoying ourselves and watching some big league baseball as Tony Sip is out there having a nice chat with the guys in the bullpen.
So Tony Sip going to hang around and come back in and pitch to the left-hand hitting Montero. You would assume, but then again, we made other assumptions here in the inning as Jerome Williams gets it loose. Now, I'm also going to assume this is the first time in the career of Tony Sip that he's played some right field.
I wasn't watching batting practice close enough to see if Tony Sip was actually taking some fly balls out there, but
you know what? I have a feeling he has a right fielder's arm.
You know he's got a hose.
This has gotten intriguing here in the desert.
I know you're digging up some stats on Tony Sip in the outfield, aren't you?
I'm going to try to come up with something here. He has.
Well, now we can say he's had a sip of coffee in right field.
There you go. Yeah. Well, the Astros will have had a sip of coffee out there. Now, he has never played anywhere but on the hill. And he's having more fun than a pitcher ought to have.
And there's nobody on base. It's a calculated risk.
So Presley moves to left. Grossman comes out. That means, what does it mean? It means nothing, because you still have your, well, let me stop and think about this. You still have your DH. No, you don't, because you're in the National League. I am so confused at this point.
Yeah, but Jerome comes in for Grossman, correct?
That is correct. So Jerome Williams is now batting in the 7th spot.
6th spot. Because Presley's still in.
Oh, Presley's in the game. So it's the 6th spot for Grossman, not for Presley, yeah.
Oh,
and
boy.
now 2-0 the count. So, you know, this gets really messed up if Jerome Williams comes on and walks his man that he comes in to face.
Well, then he just goes to right field, bring Tony Sip back in, and we got a College World Series game.
So what are we going to do now? Are we going to send Jerome back out to the outfield when Sip comes in to face a left-handed bat, and then the right-handed bat of Prado comes up? I mean, you see where we're going.
Not sure.
You do, don't you?
No. I don't have this roadmap.
3-1 the count.
It's going to be anticlimactic if he just walks Goldschmidt.
Well, it really messes up this 8th inning if he does. And now he has issued the walk. A 1-out free pass will go to Goldschmidt. He's at first base. And now I would assume that Tony Sipp is going to come back in to pitch. And Bo Porter coming out to talk with the home plate umpire. Tony Sipp is being summoned, no, not from the bullpen, but from right field. Looks like he's going to walk it in.
Does he get 8 warm-up pitches?
Oh, that's a good question. If you have already warmed up at the start of the inning, are you entitled 8 more warm-up tosses? Bo Porter's going to provide another glove here. I guess Tony Sipp has his pitcher's glove and his outfielder's glove. You know, that walk was not in the plans there, and Jerome Williams is coming out of play. So he faces one man and walks him. And now Marwin Gonzalez is going to come out and play left field. So the only thing I can assume, Jeff, and I don't know, you can agree or disagree.
Don't drag me into this conversation.
It is a conversation, and therefore 2 people are required. Is that Bo Porter wanted VR's defense to stay in this ballgame. That's the only thing I can make out of this. Well, other than that, he wanted Tony Sipp's left arm to come back in to face the left-hand hitting Montero, but he didn't want Sipp to face Paul Goldschmidt.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong.
I will.
Darren Downs is a left-handed pitcher and hasn't been used yet.
I've noticed that.
We are in the 8th inning.
Yeah, well, I've noticed the same thing. Now,
well, apparently he gets a warm-up pitcher, so that's good.
Yeah, that is good.
A couple more, but
well,
yeah, you got Darren Downs out there. You know that Chad Pauls is going to come in and close out this game.
Well, let's sleuth this thing a little bit. Darren Downs pitched twice in the Minnesota series.
I don't know how to sleuth it. You take your lineup card and you go ahead.
I had something good going here.
You let this guy write everything down. I'm just going to keep looking on the internet.
I had something good going here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Twice Darren Downs pitched in the Minnesota series.
Yes.
So maybe Darren Downs is unavailable tonight, and since we don't know that, yeah.
Either way, I've quit.
So you're done keeping score tonight,
It's
huh?
over.
Okay.
I'm going to go to my MLB at bat app.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
I'm going to plug it, and then I'm going to use it on one of my 4,000 devices. What is going on up here?
Okay.
That's good analysis, though. I mean, Darren Downs might be down, and therefore we are going to use Sipp in the outfield and bring it back.
Well, we've also got Rudy Owens. Let's not forget him.
Wait a minute.
We know that Rudy has not been used in the last day.
He's just hauling around the hammer of Thor.
So Tony Sipp should be up for most valuable player, especially now that John Singleton has blocked that very poor throw to first base. That would have been ugly. Watch this pickoff effort.
Oh boy.
Thank you for the blocking effort down there, Mr. Singleton.
Kevin Eschenfelder has texted me.
Yeah.
Tony Sipp played center field in college.
Well, there you go.
Yep.
Then I mean, he's ready to go.
Appreciate you, Ash. Doesn't mean I'm going to bring back my lineup card.
I played shortstop in Little League, and
so you're ready to go.
A little bit of high school ball, but I was never summoned to do that. Montero 2 for 3 on the night. And I'm not sure why Tony Sipp has made a couple of throws to first base, especially after bouncing one in the ground that very easily could have moved Paul Goldschmidt into scoring position.
Yeah, and you're not going to see Miguel Montero tip his hand and show a bunt by any means. He's up there to hack.
Yeah, 1 out. I would think that would be totally out of play, and with nobody out, I'd say that's totally out of play. And now 2-0 the count. So Jerome Williams comes in out of the pen and walks his man Paul Goldschmidt. And now Tony Sipp comes in from right field to make his second appearance on the night. Does he get 2 appearances here in this series in game 1?
That's a good question. 2014 in El Paso, Tony Sipp played some left field.
Big swing by Montero. It's 2-1.
He's a high energy guy too. He probably enjoyed it out there. Take that to the arbitration table.
Well, that's up to the agent. He's got to be aware.
Yeah.
A meeting at the mound. Players wanting to make sure they knew who was on the hill. That's been an intriguing inning for Bo Porter.
Sure has. He's having fun in these National League games. It's good to see.
What are you doing there?
People are tweeting pictures of me thrashing my scorecard.
Sips 2-1 is fouled down the left side, so the count evens at 2-2. Again, waiting on deck, the right-handed bat of Martin Prado. The Astros have a right-hander throwing in their pen down the right field side. It appears to be Kyle Farnsworth, who struggled yesterday in Minnesota. Or was that the day before? It's all starting to blend together.
Yeah, this short trip is really getting the best of us, isn't it?
It was yesterday. And again, fouling it off Montero. I'm going to assume, and it's purely an assumption, that Darren Downs was unavailable tonight.
Yeah, but like you said, Rudy Owens is still out there. Maybe this isn't the situation that Bo Porter wants to bring him in, a tight ball game. But still, you're in a big league bullpen. You're a left-handed pitcher. Your job is to get left-handed hitters out, I'm assuming.
What does that say to Rudy Owens? And now there's our throw over to first base again in the dirt, and John Singleton is getting a job done here in the inning, and I have no idea why Tony Sipp is throwing to first base. Paul Goldschmidt is not going anywhere.
There's only 4 bags. Of being a left-handed pitcher, you've got the advantage.
The 2-2 once again. Slider got him. So Tony Sipp strikes out Montero. He struck out Parr, the left-handed bat, to start the inning. And now is he going to stay on for Prado? No, he is not. Bo Porter has hopped out of that first base dugout once again. And Bo is now making the decision to bring on Kyle Farnsworth. Yeah, I think Bo actually got caught right there. Not sure if we've got any shot of Bo coming out, but he tapped the right arm, and then he motioned to the home plate umpire that he wants to talk. But I think he was told at that point, no, you've already tapped your right arm. We're going to the bullpen. And Kyle Farnsworth comes on. 2 outs. Goldschmidt at first. Martin Prado at the plate. And now Kyle Farnsworth needs to get a big out.
Well, amongst the madness, we're going to take a look at some of the All-Star talk we've been trying to give you. Altuve is probably the leader for the Houston Astros, is getting that All-Star bid, but I think there's a couple more guys you might want to look at. Dallas Keuchel doing himself a great job this year and possibly earning an All-Star right if you're not a manager's pick, maybe a late vote-in type, but 7-3 on the season, 2.50 ERA. Doing a great job. Had a great month of May, player of the week for the American League. And my dark horse is George Springer. If he gets hot and has another great month like we just saw him have in the month of May and rack up a bunch of home runs, he might get some consideration also.
Dallas Keuchel is a guy that, for me, along with Jose Altuve, has to make this American League All-Star squad. He has been exceptional in all facets and has taken over as the ace of the staff.
Great job. He's got it all. I just think it's a lot of fun to watch him pitch because he's down in the zone so often. Rarely making that mistake that gets obliterated. There's your ERA leaders for the American League. Dallas Keuchel running in there at 6. That 2.50.
What do you think of Masahiro Tanaka at this point for the Yankees? I mean, obviously the numbers are great.
I don't know. I really haven't had a chance to watch him all that much. I know he comes in highly touted. He's got great pitches, but I've got to be honest. I really haven't tuned in to watch him pitch much.
Great splitter. And he's got that 2 ERA right now. He cost a load of money to the Yankees, but he's earning it on the field. The Yankees, however, at 31-31, 6 games back of first place Toronto. The Yankees may not find a way to make all the great work of Tanaka stand up and mean anything. Kyle Farnsworth on. In the stats, he's going to be the 4th pitcher of the night for the Astros. And he has one big right-handed bat to get right here, Martin Prado. And the first pitch in for a called strike. Jerome Williams simply could not get his one man, Paul Goldschmidt. He walked him. If the Astros hang on and win it, Jared Cosart in line to get the win tonight. And another throw to first base. Apparently Paul Goldschmidt is doing something to draw attention.
Maybe the Astros just wanted to take a peek over there and let him know that they're thinking about him so he doesn't take advantage of the situation getting into scoring position.
He will run occasionally. He's stolen 4 in 6 tries. And now Farnsworth throws another strike. It's 0-2. Eighth inning, 4-3 Houston on top. Jared Cosart trying to win his 5th against 5 losses. And the Astros just simply trying to keep the winning ways going. Trying to make it 12 out of 16 now for the club.
A good job of winning the tight ones.
Yep.
A couple blowouts mixed in there. Good to see him bounce back from that shutout, that second game in Minnesota. It's good baseball right now. There's some interesting moves in between.
There are some interesting moves. Farnsworth misses away. Count evens at 2-2. The Astros with 9 hits on the night. Diamondbacks 5, each club with an error. And got him off speed, and Prado down on strikes. Second time for him tonight. 3 strikeouts in the inning. The Diamondbacks lead the walk.
And as promised earlier in the game, it's time to show you the AT&T fan photo. And it's Pasadena Steve tweeting us this photo. Remember to hashtag your photo CSNH fan photo for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming broadcast. That's brought to you by AT&T. Blummer, how's your scorecard?
What scorecard? That thing, if I had a lighter up here, that thing would be on fire. You like that photo, did you?
That was good stuff.
J.J. Putz comes on, fresh off the DL. Pitcher number 3 of the night for the Diamondbacks. He last pitched on the 3rd of May, that at San Diego. Got touched up a bit. He worked just a third of an inning, allowing a couple of runs. He's worked in just 13 games on the year. Boy, talk about disparity between left-hand hitters and right. Below $1 for the righties, well over 400 for the lefties. Chris Carter grabs a bat, batting in the 9 spot.
Putz basically a 2-pitch pitcher. Good fastball and a split finger.
0-2 the count on Carter, who hit that first major league grand slam in yesterday's blowout in Minnesota.
It was a bomb, too. Fastball away. Just goes with it. Coming down over the plate and shot that thing like a missile the other way. That was good to see. You know it's in there. You just want to see it a little more consistency.
That's the thing. You get glimpses every now and then.
Talked about it last year. If he hits 230 and hits 30 home runs and 90 RBIs, you'd be okay with that. But hovering around that 190 mark and a home run once every other week, not ideal.
You know, there have been guys that hit 190 and drove in 100 runs with 30+ home runs. Rob Deere comes to mind.
Mickey Templeton.
Yeah, that type of guy. And they have some value when they're driving in runs.
Sabermetrics nightmare. Although they don't value that batting average that much, they want to look at production, OPS.
Carter lines one and a leaping grab at third by Prado. Nice play at third. Didn't have to go up the ladder very high to make the play. Out number 1 here in the 9th inning.
Great swing by Chris. 2 strikes, got a hanging split, hit a bullet. Nice play by Prado.
Back to the top of the order with Dexter Fowler. Had a couple of hits in his first 2 at-bats. Since then he has struck out and flied out. Dexter hitting .281. He has again had quite a string now of multi-hit games. Dexter has scored a pair of runs tonight and now has a 1-1 count. This is the 80th game in which Dexter has played against Arizona on his career. He's hit .257, has 8 home runs. Takes ball 2. You know, I guess this probably paints a picture a little bit about Dexter. Again, his 80th game against Arizona, and he has just 7 stolen bases in the previous 79.
Yeah, his intent when he gets on base really isn't to steal.
He lines one into left center field. He's got a 3-hit night tonight. Will he dig for 2? Yes, he will. In with a slide, Dexter Fowler, a 2-base hit with 1 out here in the 9th inning.
Pretty good piece of hitting right there from Dexter.
Number 9 in terms of doubles for Dexter.
Pretty locked in when you're taking a fastball down and in like that, hitting it hard into that opposite field gap. This is the fun part right here, is watching Dexter realize that ball's got a chance to get in the gap. Stride it out. Nice hard slide into second base.
Insurance for the Astros would be very nice right about now. Fowler in scoring position for Jose Altuve, who's 3 for 4 on the night. Here's your all-star voting at second base. Altuve 5th. That's a crying shame, quite frankly.
Let's go, Astro fans.
Yeah, I think we all agree that Robinson Cano is going to win that one, but Altuve ought to be right up there with him. Certainly is statistically.
Yeah, real similar numbers to Robinson Cano. Same amount of home runs, believe it or not.
That's right. Cano has not been the home run hitter at all. He has had the batting average lead briefly at points here in the last week or so. Altuve takes a strike. And this is what Jose has done here this evening.
3 hits already. Forwards, that one was launched over Inciarte's head in center field. But everything right back up the middle, taking great swings, everything on the barrel. And you can see what happens when you're swinging the bat. Well, everybody wants a piece of you.
Give me something that you got. That's the I'll have what she's having theory. Although I think Jose might take offense to that analogy.
Possibly.
One out. The Astros trying to add to this 1-run lead. We're in the 9th inning. Altuve has driven in 22 on the season. He is among the leaders in doubles. He has 20. Grounds one left side. They're going to go for the out at third base, and they get it on Dexter Fowler. Joe West with the call. So with that ground ball taking the shortstop to his right, that play to third base actually a bit easier in some cases than going to first.
Much easier. That's an easy decision for a shortstop. You're already going that way. Prado does a good job moving towards the bag, ready to receive the throw.
And the rule says, as a base runner, if that ground ball is out in front of you, don't go. But maybe with one out, Dexter Fowler thought, well, they won't come my way. They'll get the sure thing at first. Instead, they got the sure thing at third. 2 outs. Altuve aboard at first. Very likely, I would think, to run in this scenario. John Singleton at the plate. Or do you let Singleton just go ahead and take the big swing?
I think these are 2 separate things going on right now. Singleton's in there trying to get a good pitch. He can drive. Altuve, if he feels he has a jump, can go. But I don't think what Altuve does is going to affect what Singleton's going to do in the box.
Half swing. It's a strike.
This situation, Singleton can't worry about what Altuve's doing. He's got to focus in on getting a good pitch to drive. He's got enough pop to drive a gap, and Altuve's a good enough base runner to score from first.
23 stolen bases for Jose. He's driven back to the bag, and he's been caught just 3 times. The Astros with 48 bags as a club, second best in the league. It's a big part of what they do, but the long ball is as well. They're third in home runs with 69. Altuve goes, a swing and a miss, the throw down, and not in time. Altuve's picked another one. Number 24 for Jose, now in scoring position, and that was a good throw for Montero.
That was a good throw. Tough pitch to run on. Ball down. Altuve's quick. He's not going to be ever considered a burner, I don't think, but he's got some good quick feet out there.
He gets in full speed, I would say, after 1 to 2 strides. He just is instantly full bore. 0-2 on Singleton. J.J. Putz has been known for that splitter through the years. Ball hit through the right side. That's a base hit. Here comes Altuve. Here's the throw to the plate, and Altuve is called out.
Why did he not slide?
That is a strong arm from Parra in right field. Bo Porter has come out, and we'll see if there's going to be a challenge here. This is in the hands of the umpires now in the 9th inning. We will stay here and make sure and find out. Yeah, that's a great question. Why does Altuve stay on his feet? This is a terrific throwing arm, and I don't know.
You got to get down.
Did he get him?
Well, we're going to have a couple looks at it. You slide right there, and it's not as easy for him to come across and get him, but it looks like from that angle he might have gotten him on that right elbow.
Yep, he got him.
But how about Singleton? Credit him with a 2-out base hit to try and drive in that run. It looks like he does get him on that hand. If he slides, it's a much tougher tag for Montero.
Perfect call by Marty Foster at home plate. He even said that he got him on the arm, and the umpires will review this play. But I think what we're going to find is that Altuve will be gunned down 9-2 to end the top of the 9th inning. And the Astros will have to take it with the 1-1 lead to the bottom of the frame. Yeah, there's no doubt there.
Testing the arm of Gerardo Parra. You know the ball's going to be there pretty close in time, but
so it's a 1-run game. Astros baseball is brought to you by AT&T, mobilizing your world. We got ourselves a good one here in the desert. 4-3 Houston as we go to the bottom of the 9th inning, and the closer Chad Qualls has been called upon to come in and lock this thing down for the Astros. 23 games on the year for Chad, 1-1 with a .218. And Qualls worked in one of the games in Minnesota. That was the first of the 3 games, so he should be well rested.
He's got himself a pretty good scoreless inning streak going too. 15 2/3. What's going on currently around the American League?
Chad Qualls 7 of 8 in terms of saves this year. '58 saves on his career. He would love to add to that and keep the Astros winning ways going. That very close pitch called a ball. He starts it against Aaron Hill. Hill is the 6th hitter for the Diamondbacks, and he's had a long night, 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts. He's also committed an error. Lines one down the right field side, slicing in the corner, and it goes foul.
Sigh of relief on that one, going foul for the time being.
Yeah, that leadoff extra base hit is just murder in the 9th inning in a one-run kind of game.
Makes it tough to work around.
Again, hitting it on the right side. The count at 1-2 now on Hill. Hill is a powerful second baseman. And with him playing in the National League now, you don't hear a lot about him. Came from the American League with the Toronto Blue Jays, but on his career 140 bombs. Breaking ball hit high in the air, shallow and right. It's Altuve, and he'll make the catch in front of his right fielder. 1 up, 1 down. With 1 out, it brings up the 7 hitter, David Peralta. Just fresh up to the big leagues, but he's had an impact offensively on the Diamondbacks. Not so much tonight. 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. Oh, and 1 the count. Qualls works it from the stretch. Ground ball to second. Right there is Altuve to a knee to make the play. 2 down here in the 9th inning. Qualls pitcher number 5 on the night for Houston. Kind of. Tony Sipp made a couple of appearances, also played some right field. So it's down to 1 out. And the Diamondbacks have their center fielder Ender Inciarte at the plate. 0 for 3. He's grounded out 3 times. The Astros trying to get to 29 and 36. Fly ball left field and deep. Back at the track. And unable to make the play, Marwin Gonzalez. It's a 2-out double for Inciarte. And that's a tough play for Marwin Gonzalez, getting out there and trying to play left field. Spun him around.
That's where the Tony Sipp situation comes into play.
It does.
Tony Sipp doesn't come into right field, then you leave the outfield alignment the way it was with Robbie Grossman out there in left field, but instead it's Marwin Gonzalez who has to go out there and try to make a play. That ball launched over his head. Not a comfortable play if you haven't been out there consistently in your career. Still 2 outs.
Still 2 outs, but a man in scoring position. And that's just a very challenging play for an infielder.
And really only a step away from making that play.
Got spun around a bit on the play. Now, a base hit can tie this game. This is the 9 spot. And Chris Owings, the regular shortstop, has grabbed a bat. He is pinch hitting and takes ball 1. Outfield shades a bit toward right, at least in center. There's a huge gap in left center field. And 2-0 the count. Leadoff man Gregorius waits on deck. The 2-0 grounded foul. The life of a closer, it's a little bit different than anybody else on the club. You sit around and just hang out for 8 innings. And you hope to have the lead, but in most cases you'd like to have the 3-run lead. Hanging breaking ball fouled off. That evens the count at 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs here in the 9th inning. Boy, how you'd love to have that run with Altuve being tagged out at the plate as he stood up. And by the way, nice clutch hitting by John Singleton as Jason Castro goes to the mound. Tense situation. Chad Qualls trying to bring it home. Brings the 2-2 and got him swinging. Slider, and that appeared to be in the dirt, and he's waiting to see a tag applied. But that will do it. Chad Qualls picks up his 8th save of the year. The Astros win their 29th against 36 losses. And the Houston Astros are playing some solid baseball. This one did not go down easily. 4 runs, 11 hits for Houston, 3 runs, 6 hits for the Diamondbacks. And they just keep on having some fun times.